Chapter 1459. The terrain in front of her was flat and boundless. Zhao Lianyun's divine sense continued to spread, eventually covering her entire blessed land. Not long ago, she had succeeded in her immortal ascension and became a Wisdom Path Rank 6 GU Immortal of Spirit Affinity House, creating this high-grade blessed land. Lianyun Blessed Land. It was a large tributary of the River of Time with a ratio of 1:33 compared to the outside world. The blessed land could produce over 30 beads of green grape immortal essence every year. Half grassland, half plain. Zhao Lianyun muttered. The terrain of the blessed land was related to the GU Immortals situation. The grassland terrain might be because Zhao Lianyun's heart was in northern plains. She had spent most of her time in northern plains. As for the plain terrain, it might have inherited the style of central continent. Without any planting or cultivation, the grassland was already green and lush. As for the plains, the soil was also fertile. With a little cultivation, there would be a lot of products. Besides the blessed land, there were also immortal GU. Not mentioning the rank 9 love immortal GU, Zhao Lianyun even obtained a second immortal GU, remembrance, because of her immortal ascension in a high-grade blessed land. This was a wisdom path immortal GU. It was shaped like a flying ant and flew at an astonishing speed. Its body was silver in color, and when it was stationary, it would emit a faint illusory white halo. Oh Hongyun, do you know, I am no longer a mortal, I have become a GU immortal. Zhao Lianyun withdrew her divine sense and slowly opened her eyes, returning her attention to the outside world. She sighed softly. After becoming an immortal, although there was joy, there was even more emptiness and loneliness. In the Battle of Reverse Flow River, although Ma Hongyun was crushed to death by Fang Yuan, his soul was still around. This was not Zhao Lianyun's random guess, but the deduction of Spirit Affinity House's Wisdom Path GU Immortal, Shu Hao. Zhao Lianyun chose to believe, and this became her motivation and hope to continue cultivating. Thinking that Ma Hongyun still had a trace of hope to revive, Zhao Lianyun restrained her emotions and got up, leaving this secret room. Today was an important day. Zhao Lianyun walked through a corridor. Female immortal Li Junying was already waiting for her. Lianyun greets elder sister Junying. Zhao Lianyun immediately bowed. Li Junying smiled and said, "Little sister Lian, you need not be so polite. Let's go, I will accompany you to the Secret Inheritance Peak." Secret Inheritance Peak was a place that Spirit Affinity House's GU Immortals frequented. This was the first time Zhao Lianyun had set foot on this mountain. Sure enough, this peak was extraordinary. It floated in the air, the void around it seemed to be close but was actually far away. The aura on the mountain peak was thick, it was like a bow that was not released. It was clear that a huge immortal GU formation had been set up. The one in charge of this peak was Spirit Affinity House's neutral supreme elder, known as Fairy Liu Fang. On this trip, Zhao Lianyun did not see Fairy Liu Fang in person. Instead, he was entertained by the will left behind by her. Zhao Lianyun himself did not sense anything wrong, but Li Junying frowned slightly. According to common sense, as the current generation fairy of Spirit Affinity House, Zhao Lianyun would be heavily nurtured by the sect. When she entered the Secret Inheritance Peak for the first time and received the sect's subsidy, she would be personally entertained by the Secret Inheritance Peak Lord. But Fairy Liu Fang did not follow this convention. Junior Lianyun greets Senior Liu Fang. Zhao Lianyun bowed towards Liu Fang's will. No need to be so polite, you are the current generation fairy of our sect, please take a look at this GU. Liu Fang's will smiled with squinted eyes, her attitude was very polite as she handed an information path mortal GU to Zhao Lianyun. Zhao Lianyun took a look, there was a dazzling array of items inside. There were so many that she could not help but feel dazzled. Lianyun's knowledge is shallow, please help me, elder sister Junying. Zhao Lianyun was a smart person, she quickly handed this GU to Li Junying who was beside her. Li Junying took a look and nodded slightly. The items in this information path mortal GU were not deducted or reduced compared to before, it was the real deal. She immediately transmitted to Zhao Lianyun, Lianyun, you have become a GU immortal and have immortal GU love and remembrance, as well as a high-grade blessed land, it is already extremely high. Once you become a GU immortal, you will need to manage your immortal aperture and accumulate your foundation. The first task is to feed your immortal GU. Fortunately, although your love immortal GU is rank 9, there are no problems in feeding it. Thus, what you need to consider now is remembrance immortal GU. And to feed this GU, the ingredient is bright eye flowers. Among Spirit Affinity House's benefits, there is a bright eye flower cultivation method. You should choose it. Zhao Lianyun nodded, replying, Elder sister is right. What about the other two? As the current generation fairy of Spirit Affinity House, there were naturally extraordinary benefits. According to the sect's rules, once the current generation fairy had a breakthrough in her cultivation, she could choose 3 resources from Secret Inheritance Peak for free. As for other GU immortals, besides making great contributions, they could only use their sect contribution points to exchange for these resources. Li Junying smiled, saying, other than this, I suggest you choose the divination grass. Since you are a wisdom path GU immortal, you should naturally develop it from the aspect of wisdom path. Divination grass is not only a wisdom path resource, it is also easy to nurture and has a high price in the market of jewel yellow skies. You won't lose out if you choose this. Then I will choose this. Elder sister's choice is definitely not wrong. Zhao Lianyun quickly said. Li Junying was very satisfied with Zhao Lianyun's attitude. Her tone became gentler. Then what should I choose for the last item? Zhao Lianyun asked again. Naturally the first item. Immortal Yuan Stone? That's right. Li Junying saw Zhao Lianyun's puzzled expression and chuckled. Be it bright eye flowers or divination grass, the scale provided by the sect is not enough for you to plant them on a large scale. If you don't plant them on a large scale, they will lose their meaning. Thus, you need a large amount of Immortal Yuan Stone to purchase more seeds and plant them. Immortal Yuan Stone is an important resource that GU immortals must store. Because it is not only the most common currency used by GU immortals, it can also be converted into immortal essence for you to use. It is the most valuable asset. So that's it. Then I will choose Immortal Yuan Stone. Zhao Lianyun did not hesitate, immediately exchanging for the 3 items from Liu Fang's will. The 2 left Secret Inheritance Peak and flew back to their residence. Before leaving, Li Junying took out a batch of Immortal Yuan Stone and gave it to Zhao Lianyun. Sister Lianyun, this is the Immortal Yuan Stone that your brother-in-law Shu Hao and I are lending you, a total of 3,000 pieces. Feel free to use it. It has an unlimited period of time. Ah! Zhao Lianyun gasped, showing a moved expression. The sect only gave me 1,000 Immortal Yuan Stone. Sister, you are lending me 3,000. How can I accept this? Li Junying patted Zhao Lianyun's shoulder. Silly girl, the sect has already given you a lot. You are a member of the sect, you have someone to rely on. Do you know that those itinerant cultivators and fiend immortals all live off of immortal essence stones? In terms of immortal essence reserves, rank 6 GU immortals who have just ascended are almost completely broke. Rank 6 GU immortals with 100 immortal Yuan Stone reserves are already middle tier. There are almost no rank 6 GU immortals with 1,000 immortal Yuan Stone reserves. They are very rare. Your situation is different, because you are not only a GU immortal of Central Continent's 10 great ancient sects, you are also the current generation fairy of Spirit Affinity House, receiving the sect's heavy support. You are a special case. Under normal circumstances, in the 5 regions and 2 heavens, most rank 6 GU immortals do not have more than 100 immortal Yuan Stones, some have several hundred, and very few have high immortal Yuan Stones. And among rank 7 GU immortals, they have at least several hundred immortal Yuan Stones, most have more than 1,000, and very few have more than 10,000. This is common knowledge, it is enough for you to know. Thank you for your guidance, sister. Zhao Lianyun bowed solemnly, his face full of gratitude. Li Junying's words were telling him that the sect had not mistreated him. At the same time, he and his wife were also strongly supporting him. I will definitely work hard, Zhao Lianyun said solemnly. Li Junying nodded. Go cultivate. If you have any questions, you can write to me or ask your brother-in-law, Shu Hao. Yes. Joy flashed in Zhao Lianyun's eyes. Having someone to guide him and not having anyone to guide him were 2 different concepts. Looking at Zhao Lianyun's departing figure, the smile on Li Junying's face gradually faded. Ever since Feng Kim Hoang became a disciple of Duke Long, her days had not been good. She and her husband, Xu Hao, were famous for being in the Antifeng faction. But now, almost all the supreme elders of Spirit Affinity House were clear that Feng Kim Hoang was an immortal venerable seed. His future prospects were limitless. This time, Fairy Liu Fang's attitude clearly showed the political direction of Spirit Affinity House. Li Junying had also expected this. She specially accompanied Zhao Lianyun. It was to prevent anyone from embezzling Zhao Lianyun's sect benefits. Fortunately, such a thing did not happen. It could be predicted that this would be a political winter for this couple. And under this cold wind, they could only unite all the people that could be united, like Zhao Lianyun, and then huddle together to warm themselves. Northern Plains, Chu Clan. The famous Strength Path GU immortal expert Chu Du put down the Information Path GU worm in his hand. "Oh Fang Yuan, it is really not easy to get along with you." Chu Du smiled bitterly. This Information Path GU worm was sent by Fang Yuan. He wanted to borrow immortal Yuan stone from him. Fang Yuan had once used Liu Guanyi's alias and cooperated with Chu Du for a period of time. Their relationship was not shallow. Not long ago, Celestial Court assassinated GU immortal Yun Liang and destroyed Longevity Heaven's political scheme. They also announced the secret that Fang Yuan and Liu Guanyi were the same person, framing Fang Yuan. Thus, Chu Du already knew that Liu Guanyi was Fang Yuan. However, Domination Immortal Chu Du was not very surprised. In fact, he had once suspected this. He even sang a poem to probe Fang Yuan. Be it Liu Guanyi or Fang Yuan, Chu Du wanted to cooperate with them. But now, Chu Du's status was completely different. He was now the first supreme elder of Chu Clan. He had many GU immortals under him. He was already a member of the Righteous Path. As a Northern Plains Righteous Path GU immortal, if he continued to cooperate with Fang Yuan, once it was exposed, all his efforts in building up his forces would be for naught. There was a huge risk in cooperating with Fang Yuan. Originally, Chu Du wanted to ignore it and maintain a vague attitude, but Fang Yuan did not give him the chance. He directly sent a letter to borrow immortal Yuan stone. And in the letter, Fang Yuan only said to borrow immortal Yuan stone. He purposely did not say the exact amount. He wanted Chu Du to decide. This made Chu Du feel even more troubled. Chapter 1461. A few days later. Central Continent, Spirit Affinity House. Zhao Lianyun's divine sense spread out, inspecting her immortal aperture. Lianyun blessed land was already very different from before. There was a flower field with large numbers of bright-eye flowers. This was the ingredient of her immortal GU remembrance. She had to nurture them. Other than that, there was also a small grassland. Victory divination grass was planted on the grassland. This grass was small and sharp, with a light green color. In the sky above this grassland, there were swallows flying around. These were worker swallows. They were the most hard-working and nimble. Their feathers were black, white, and red. Zhao Lianyun had specially brought in a batch of them to kill insects for the Victory divination grass. During the growth process of the Victory divination grass, it would produce a type of insect that would corrode the leaves and greatly reduce the profits. I have already spent most of the thousands of immortal Yuan stones. I am almost finished. Zhao Lianyun looked at the scene in front of her and sighed in her heart. At first, she felt this was a huge sum of money, but after using it, she found it was not worth it. Because she was not just nurturing one or two resources, she was building two complete ecosystems. Not just the seeds of the bright-eye flowers and Victory divination grass, but also the soil, irrigation, and the construction of the climate. All of these needed to be invested. According to the time, after a year of immortal aperture time, the production of bright-eye flowers will be enough to feed Remembrance Immortal GU. 2 years later, the profits from the Victory divination grass and bright-eye flowers will be enough for me to earn hundreds of immortal Yuan stones. 3 years later, I will be able to repay Li Junying's loan. And all of this can only be achieved under the most ideal situation. And this does not include the expenses incurred in the entire process. Zhao Lianyun could feel the difficulty of GU immortal cultivation. This was only the cultivation of 2 resources. They were operated independently and did not interfere with each other. At the same time, they were plants. The difficulty of raising them was much lower than beast groups and variant humans. Moreover, Zhao Lianyun was a high-grade blessed land. It had abundant space path and time path resources. And most importantly, she had divine concealment. She was immune to calamities and tribulations. She did not need to worry about this biggest problem. The number of Laro Yang is still a little too little. It can't satisfy the entire grassland. I have to bring in another batch. Zhao Lianyun communicated with Jewel Yellow Skies again and probed it with his divine telekinesis. These days, she fully experienced the convenience of the Jewel Yellow Skies market. Guts Gu Zhao Lianyun soon discovered that someone was selling Guts Gu in Jewel Yellow Skies. She knew that the Guts Gu was unique to Fang Yuan, but in the Jewel Yellow Skies market, because the Guts Gu was in short supply, there was a black market. That is, someone would first purchase Guts Gu in large quantities and then sell them at a high price. Thus, the seller of the Guts Gu might not be Fang Yuan. Moreover, Gu Immortal's wills and identities could be switched at will. Jewel Yellow Skies was safe and free. Even the Celestial Court could only watch as Fang Yuan sold it. Even if I can sell the Bright-Eyed Flower and the Victorious Divination Grass a few years later, there will be other competitors who will also be affected by the market. In terms of price, they cannot compare to Guts Gu. Fang Yuan was Zhao Lianyun's greatest enemy. She paid close attention to the Guts Gu trade. But the more she paid attention, the more she realized that Fang Yuan had great strength. She could not help but feel dejected. At this rate of accumulation, I simply cannot catch up to Fang Yuan. I might even be left behind by him. Damn it! Zhao Lianyun gritted her teeth. But right at this time, for some reason, there was a commotion ahead. Large numbers of Gu Immortal wills that were scattered all around Jewel Yellow Skies were now gathering towards that direction. Zhao Lianyun's heart jumped. Is there a huge transaction? I heard from Li Junying that such a huge transaction that can cause such a commotion is rare in Jewel Yellow Skies. Last time, someone was selling large numbers of year beasts. To think that my luck is so good, I can see it not long after I advanced to an immortal. Zhao Lianyun naturally did not want to give up this opportunity to broaden her horizons. She also sent her divine sense over to take a look. Soon, she arrived at the scene. Here, a huge Gu Immortal will with the appearance of a fatty was sitting in the air. Around him were Year Gu. A vast number of Year Gu. So many Year Gu, there are at least 100,000 of them. Zhao Lianyun was shocked. This was the first time she had seen so many Year Gu piled up together. The huge number and scale had a huge visual impact. Sister Li Junying is right. Mortal Gu only differ in quantity to Gu Immortals. Zhao Lianyun sighed internally. How much are you selling these Year Gu? Immediately, a Gu Immortal will ask for the price. The fatty will smiled and answered. He gave a very fair price. The other Gu Immortals immediately conversed. If there are no problems with these Year Gu, I will definitely buy a batch. These are time path mortal Gu. They have a wide range of uses, be it Gu refinement or other aspects. They have a common demand. And the price is so fair, I might need to charge more. Even if I cannot use them, I can sell them in the future. I don't have to worry about not being able to sell them. Who is the seller? Selling Year Gu at this time is a very good timing. According to convention, the biggest sellers of Year Gu in the market have not started selling yet. The Gu Immortals discussed. All sorts of divine senses and wills conversed. It was not a secret. Zhao Lianyun learned a lot of things. She listened attentively and soon found out that the seller of Year Gu was likely a newcomer. Although the timing of the sale was brought forward, it was inevitable that there would be a fierce collision with the previous seller. If this seller was just a one-time deal, it would be fine, but if they wanted to enter the market of Jewel Yellow Skies for a long time, there would be a bloodbath. Thinking of this, Zhao Lianyun's eyes brightened. If it was the latter, then this would be a great lesson. I will sell my resources in the future and enter the market of Jewel Yellow Skies. My resources are not unique in the world. I will need to go through this stage. How many monopolistic businesses are there in the entire Gu Immortal world? Not everyone is as lucky as Fang Yuan. I need to learn and pay attention to this sale of Year Gu. Maybe I can learn a lot from it. Zhao Lianyun reminded herself. The scene was bustling. Many GU immortals started to purchase Year GU. Time Path GU worms had a wide range of uses. The market demand was high. Transactions were completed one after another. The profits accumulated to a certain extent. Some GU immortals were very jealous. I estimate that this GU immortal who sold Year GU has earned at least 50,000 immortal yuan stone in this short period of time. Zhao Lianyun was shocked. But the most shocking thing was yet to come. This seller continued to sell Year GU and replenish them. Even though there were many transactions, around the fatty's will, the number of Year GU sold increased instead of decreasing. Oh heavens, how many Year GU does this person have? Incredible, this is a huge sum. They are not friendly. The biggest sellers of Year GU have always been Xiebao Shu, Rong Xin, and Wang Mingyu. This might cause a war. Zhao Lianyun listened attentively. She was getting more and more expectant. With this mysterious seller entering the market, the three people who benefited from it would not let this go. Chapter 1462. Eastern Sea. A shallow sea area. A jade pavilion stood alone in the depths of the sea, emitting the aura of a rank 6 immortal GU house. In the jade pavilion, GU immortal Xiebao Shu was entertaining his friend Yuxianzi. Looking at the jade pavilion and the huge field of vicissitude mulberry trees, Yuxianzi sighed, "It is time to harvest Year GU again. These vicissitude trees are growing more vigorously than the previous year. It can be seen that you have made a new breakthrough in cultivating this kind of resource, Bao Shu." Xiebao Shu had a handsome face. He rubbed his nose and smiled. "Friend, you don't need to suck up to me." Yuxianzi laughed loudly. "I am worried about you. Don't you know that someone in jewel yellow skies is already selling Year GU?" Xiebao Shu did not speak. He stretched out his hand and took out a mortal Year GU, handing it to Yuxianzi. Yuxianzi took it and looked at it. Not bad. This rank 5 Year GU is of good quality. It is shiny and healthy. It looks good. Xiebao Shu shook his head. "This is not my Year GU. It belongs to that person in jewel yellow skies." "So that's it." Yuxianzi was slightly surprised before accepting it. He knew the background of this friend. Xiebao Shu was a famous lone cultivator in Eastern Sea. He had the exclusive knowledge of nurturing vicissitude trees. Vicissitude trees were immortal materials, but they had very limited uses. Even though they were immortal materials, because they had too many types of Dao marks, they were all over the place. Thus, very few GU immortals paid attention to these plants. But Xiebao Shu had a different target. He focused on this tree and cultivated it on a large scale, using the vicissitude forest to nurture and attract wild Year GU. Right now, he was one of the 3 giants in the Year GU market. Among these Year GU that he produced, only a small portion were sold to jewel yellow skies. Most of them were sold to Eastern Sea's superforces. Even so, Xiebao Shu would not give up on the jewel yellow skies market easily. Because this was a market for the whole world, in a way, the jewel yellow skies market was more important than those superforces in Eastern Sea. Now that someone was making a huge move, they seemed to be entering the Year GU market. How could Xiebao Shu ignore it? Even though it was not time for him to sell Year GU yet, he had been paying attention to the movements of Year GU in the market for the entire year. "I have seen this Year GU, it is indeed high quality. Our opponent this time is not simple." Xiebao Shu sighed. Yu Xianzi nodded. "With such a large number, it's very likely that it's a superpower of a certain region. If it's just one person, it's very difficult for such a large number to appear at once. Back then, didn't you accumulate power step by step and climb your way up?" Xiebao Shu immediately laughed. "Oh you, why bother beating around the bush to encourage me? Among the 3 major sellers, only I'm a rogue cultivator. But it is precisely because of this that I have walked step by step, bumping into things and constantly suffering setbacks. My foundation is extremely stable, and I have seen all sorts of storms. This time will be no exception. Furthermore," Yu Xianzi continued, "moreover, your 3 clans have already reached an agreement. Every industry has its own unspoken rules. Even though this newcomer is coming with great momentum, he broke the unspoken rules. I'm afraid he will be suppressed and ostracized by the three of you, right? Ha ha ha, as expected, I can't hide anything from you, you rat that only knows how to steal profits. Xie Bao Shu pointed at Yu Shenz's nose as he scolded with a smile. Northern Plains, Lang Ye blessed land. In a secret room in the Cloud City, Fang Yuan sat unmoving. It had been several days already. These days, he had been activating this rank 8-time path immortal GU years flow like water. He obtained this immortal GU from Heifan's true inheritance. Even rank 6 GU immortals could use it, but the effect was limited. Right now, Fang Yuan was using a rank 7 GU immortal's red date immortal essence to inject years flow like water into it, making it produce mortal year GU continuously. And these year GU were then moved to Jewel Yellow Skies' market. Over there, he used his will to stabilize the situation and transact year GU with other GU immortals. Indeed, he was that newcomer who sold year GU in large numbers. He came with great momentum. Not only did he cause a commotion in Jewel Yellow Skies, Xie Bao Shu and the rest were also very wary of him. Fang Yuan borrowed 1.73 million immortal yuan stones. He turned them into red date immortal essence and used them to produce year GU. Rank 8 years flow like water immortal GU was too amazing. It produced a lot of mortal year GU. They were of good quality too. These few days, the market's response was very good. Many GU immortals bought the first batch and felt that it was good. They went to buy the second batch from Fang Yuan. Right at this time, Fang Yuan's movements of activating years flow like water immortal GU paused. He was in constant communication with Jewel Yellow Skies. Through the will in Jewel Yellow Skies, he sent a message, saying that a superforce wanted to buy Fang Yuan's goods in large numbers, but was afraid that Fang Yuan could not provide them, so they wanted to talk to him personally. If possible, they wanted to establish a long-term cooperation. This news could be true, but it could also be fake. Or more likely, those original year GU buyers are pretending. Fang Yuan smiled coldly, throwing this information to the back of his mind. Fang Yuan was not interested in a long-term cooperation. This time, he wanted to make a huge move, Central Continent. Rongxin was silent. The other party is not interested in my suggestion? Rongxin was surprised. He was pretending to be a huge buyer. He wanted to communicate with Fang Yuan's main body and probe his background. But Fang Yuan did not even bother to ask him. How can this be? Even if he is the representative of a superforce, he wants to have more buyers for his year GU. Unless he does not have many year GU left. Rongxin was a member of the 10 great ancient sects. As a Righteous Path member, he understood the thoughts of Righteous Path GU immortals and superforces. He thought about it. He felt that his guess was very likely. This must be the reason why this mysterious seller is selling year GU in advance. He is trying to avoid us. He is avoiding even my suggestion. I am afraid he really does not have enough stock. Actually, these year GU that he sold are only a tenth of the ones I have left. Hee. Thinking of this, Rongxin laughed lightly. This is a good way to attract attention. He evaluated Fang Yuan's actions. Unfortunately, he does not have enough strength. What use is it? Southern border. Returning Dragon Valley. The sound of a waterfall echoed in the valley. Water vapor spread, vegetation was green. Righteous Path Super Force Yarrow Clan's external Supreme Elder, Wang Mingyu, was standing on a huge rock, looking at the waterfall in front of her. This waterfall was not ordinary, it was a tributary of the River of Time. There are 3 sellers of Year GU. Eastern Sea's Xie Bao Shu uses vicissitude trees to nurture Year GU. Central Continent's Rongxin uses refinement path methods to refine a vast number of Year GU at regular intervals. Only I have a tributary of the River of Time. I can search for natural wild immortal GU. Wang Mingyu compared internally. This tributary of the River of Time was special. It was a tributary of the middle river segment of the River of Time. There were many special river segments in the River of Time. For example, the Blade River segment, it was created by Red Lotus Demon Venerable back then. He used Shi Yuan and Dao Ju Lang to create a special river segment, to protect a stone lotus island that he created. In the Year River segment, there were countless wild Year GU. This river segment's tributary was discovered by the former lone immortal Wang Mingyu. she managed it secretly. But a few years later, Southern Border's righteous path found it. They were jealous. After some secret discussions, Yarrow clan won. Yarrow clan's Gu immortal Yarrow Tianzi married Wang Mingyu. Because of this returning Dragon Valley was openly incorporated into the Yarrow family's territory. This year's harvest is good. I caught 30% more year Gu than usual. Since the other two sides are not making a move, I will make a move first. If I let that newcomer sell his goods, it will be hard for me to sell all of my wild year Gu. Wang Mingyu thought of this and started to sell year Gu in jewel yellow skies. Her actions caused a commotion in jewel yellow skies. One of the three sellers of year Gu, Wang Mingyu, is making a move. If that mysterious person sells year Gu, it will not be easy for others to sell them. This is going to be a good show. That's right. The mysterious person is selling such a huge amount of year Gu, the three sellers must be having a hard time holding back. Now that Wang Mingyu is making a move, the other two will not sit still. Let's wait, maybe there will be a trade war, we will be able to get some benefits. Many Gu immortals conversed. Chapter 1463. Wang Mingyu sold her goods. Originally, in the market of jewel yellow skies, only Fang Yuan was selling year Gu in bulk. Now that there was a competitor, it caused a huge commotion. Women will always be women, they have no patience at all. Central Continent's Rongshin scoffed after getting the news. This way, many Gu immortals will choose to watch. He was experienced in selling year Gu, he immediately guessed the change in the market. As expected, the popularity of jewel yellow skies' year Gu market slowed down. Wang Mingyu became Fang Yuan's competitor, the market's supply of year Gu exceeded the demand, the Gu immortals held back, waiting for the show to start. Jewel yellow skies was filled with the feeling of an impending storm. In the past, when they sold year Gu, their business was always booming, but this year, they were sold early, the situation was bleak, almost no one was interested. Regarding this, Wang Mingyu was helpless. There was no helping it, she had a lot of year Gu, if she did not sell them now and waited for the other two sellers to sell, her market share would shrink. Wang Mingyu actually sold early. Different from Rongshin who was unmoved, Xie Baoshu was hesitating. Xie Baoshu understood Wang Mingyu, she was an experienced seller, how could she not see the disadvantage of selling early? The biggest possibility is that she has a lot of year Gu in her inventory. Xie Baoshu did not show it on the surface, but he was getting more worried internally. A day later, he finally decided to make a move, he sold year Gu in treasure yellow heaven. Xie Baoshu is making a move too. Among the three giants, two have already sold early. That's because today is different from the past. A fourth wolf has entered the original grassland. In jewel yellow skies, the Gu immortals discussed. Damn it. These two. Central Continent's Rongshin heard the news and gritted his teeth, he could only follow. The situation was different from before. Earlier, when Fang Yuan sold alone, Rongshin could endure it, he was unmoved. With Wang Mingyu, Rongshin was only slightly nervous. However, if Xie Baoshu also sold his goods, Rongshin would be under a lot of pressure. Of the four major sellers, if he was the only one who didn't make a move, then the one who would suffer the most was undoubtedly him. However, Rongshin had her own difficulties. His year Gu was refined from Gu. Because it wasn't the time limit of previous years, he didn't have enough stock in his hands. Therefore, among the four major sellers, he had the least inventory. Without a choice, Rongshin could only grit his teeth and sell year Gu in jewel yellow skies. I have the least goods in my hands, so I can't use force. Rongshin had a feeling that what he needed now was time, to refine more year Gu. After some thought, he took the initiative to contact Xie Baoshu and Wang Mingyu. These three had known each other for many years, in terms of year Gu, they competed and interacted with each other, they naturally had information path Gu worms that connected them. Even though there are newcomers, I believe that the three of us should still abide by the old agreement, right? Rongshin reminded the two of them. Xie Baoshu and Wang Mingyu naturally agreed without hesitation. Originally, by selling year Gu in advance, they had already broken some old agreements. But because it was a special situation, it was understandable. But if they broke other agreements, especially the price of year GU, they would be breaking the rules. When there were too many sellers, there would naturally be a price war. This was a powerful method in a business war. But if it was too powerful, it would hurt both sides. Xie Baoshu, Wang Mingyu, and Rong Xin had fought against each other many times already. They did not change the price, other than not being able to do anything to each other. It was also to protect their own benefits. There was a problem here. If Fang Yuan's side suddenly lowered the price, what should they do? The three of them might abide by the agreement, but Fang Yuan was a newcomer. Even if Rong Xin persuaded him, he might not listen. However, Rong Xin, Xie Baoshu, and Wang Mingyu were not worried about this. With 4 sellers selling year GU at the same time, Fang Yuan felt that his sales were stagnating. I am a newcomer after all. Even though the goods are of high quality, in the hearts of other GU immortals, how can I compare to the 3 giants? Wang Mingyu, Xie Baoshu, and Rong Xin had been doing this business for many years. They had built up their reputation. This was something that Fang Yuan could not compare to. This was Fang Yuan's weakness. But Fang Yuan had his own methods to deal with it. Soon, Rong Xin, Xie Baoshu, and Wang Mingyu found out about a huge piece of news at the same time. That mysterious seller started to lower the price of year GU. So they used this move after all. I thought they would have some tricks up their sleeves. The 3 sellers were not anxious, they were even a little disdainful. They were already sick of this method of lowering prices. They had suffered a lot because of it. Lowering prices in a business war was a double-edged sword. It would hurt both sides. But to the buyers, Fang Yuan taking the initiative to lower the price was undoubtedly good news. Weren't they waiting for such a chance? They were like sharks that heard the news. They swarmed over. Fang Yuan's year GU started to be sold in large numbers. It was a stark contrast to Xie Baoshu, Wang Mingyu, and Rong Xin. The other party seems to be very experienced. They lowered the prices very well. It feels like a lot, but it did not decrease by much. Wang Mingyu observed secretly. But so what? The whole of Jewel Yellow Skies has a huge market for year GU. How can you supply all the buyers in the 5 regions? In the end, you are still making a loss to yourself. You can sell them for a much higher price. The 3 sellers maintained the same price, but a few days later, they could not sit still anymore. What is going on? This person has so many year GU, it seems like he has an endless supply. How can he have so many year GU? Something is not right. The mood of the 3 major buyers became a little heavy, but they were hesitant to lower their prices as well. In the end, it was because of their mental state. Fang Yuan was a newcomer. It was new to him no matter how much he earned. But for these 3 big sellers, because they were experienced, they would estimate the approximate profit every year. This way, if they lowered their prices, their profits would shrink. It was natural for them to hesitate. A few days later, Fang Yuan was still selling like hotcakes. The 3 sellers saw that the situation was not right. Wang Mingyu negotiated with the other 2 to lower their prices as well. Xie Baoshu had a cold expression. In this situation, I am afraid that person has a lot of stock. If we do not lower our prices, we will not be able to sell them. Indeed. Wang Mingyu added, this person has extraordinary methods, he lowered his prices perfectly, we are at a disadvantage now. Rong Xin snorted coldly, whether we lose or not depends on the year GU sales. If we lower our prices too much and sell too much, we will suffer losses. What is the point? He did not agree with this method, he wanted to endure it for a while longer. He had no choice. He didn't have many goods on hand. If he lowered the price, more people would buy them. If he didn't sell the goods and ran out of stock, it would damage his image and reputation. Chapter 1464. Genius in 1 second. Remember to go away. TalkNet, providing you with exciting novels to read. He lowered the price. As Fang Yuan lowered the price, Xie Baoshu and the other 2 sellers also lowered the price after holding on for a few days. However, they did not lower the price by a lot, they were all at the same pace as Fang Yuan. I am a newbie in the year GU business, I have an unknown identity and origin. Compared to me, Xiebao Shu, Rong Xin, and Wang Ming you have good reputations. They have been in business for many years and are trusted by others. Thus, as long as they lower the price to the same as me, those who want to buy Ye Jiu will still choose them first. Fang Yuan knew about Xiebao Shu and the other two schemes. This was where Xiebao Shu and the rest were superior to Fang Yuan. Their years of experience and accumulation were deeply rooted in people's hearts. It was not a joke. But, so what? Fang Yuan smiled lightly. On the day that Xiebao Shu and the rest lowered the price, Fang Yuan continued to lower the price. The GU immortals in jewel yellow skies were already paying attention to this rare competition. Once Fang Yuan lowered the price, news spread rapidly. Not long after, almost all the GU immortals and forces that were paying attention to this matter knew about it. I heard that Xiebao Shu lowered the price. I wanted to buy from him. After all, it has been like this in the past. That's right, but I prefer Rongxin's goods. But that fourth person lowered the price again. It seems that he has a lot of strength. He wants to challenge the three sellers. The buyers were overjoyed. They were relaxed and happy. After all, they were the ones benefiting from the price war. Moreover, it was also a rare pleasure to sit still and watch a good show of a fierce battle between dragons and tigers. At the same price, Fang Yuan could not compete with the other three. He had no competition. But when he lowered the price and was lower than the other three, he had a huge advantage. After all, Fang Yuan's goods were excellent and cheap. Would GU immortals be stupid enough to buy the most expensive ones? Therefore, for the rest of the day, Fang Yuan's business was still booming, and no one was interested in the other three. After getting this news, Central Continent GU immortal Rongxin laughed. It was a cold laugh, of course. He communicated with the other two parties. Interesting, this person really wants to start a price war with us. Wang Mingyu smiled. For so many years, no one has been able to shake our positions. This time, I want to see what kind of person he is. Xiebao Shu finally agreed. Then let's follow suit and lower our prices. There was nothing to say. Since Fang Yuan lowered his price again, the other three sellers also lowered their prices, becoming the same as Fang Yuan's Ye Jiu. She had already hesitated for a long time. Since Fang Yuan took the initiative to fight, these three GU immortals felt that they had great strength. They followed up fearlessly. The price was lowered for the second time. There was a small heated discussion in jewel yellow skies. The other GU immortals started to get excited. Because they knew that this was only the second price reduction, it was only the start of this war. There would definitely be a third and fourth price reduction. But that will depend on when that mysterious fourth party lowers their prices. To the seller, any price reduction is equivalent to cutting off their own flesh. Earlier, that fourth party started a war, but the three sellers were not afraid. They played with you. They were full of spirit. That's right. There might be a third price reduction soon. I wonder when that will happen. The spectating GU immortals conversed. Normally speaking, price reductions were common in such a war, but there was a gap between each price reduction. Because the sellers needed to observe the market, they needed time to think and make a decision. Lowering prices was a double-edged sword. Even though they could attack their competitors, they would also hurt their own profits. If the sales were good, then perhaps they wouldn't lower the price anymore. After all, they needed to protect their own profits. If they lowered their prices, even if they sold more, they might not earn much. After all, their competitors would lower their prices as well. If the sellers did not give in, they would lower their prices as much as they could. If they fought to the end, they might die together. But for GU immortals, there were almost no situations where the sellers fought to the end. The sellers were not fools. They sold things to gain profits. If they fought to the end, they would not gain anything. What was the point of selling? The sellers were smart. The buyers were smart too. After the three sellers lowered their prices to the same level as Fang Yuan's, they did not buy much. The year GU sales would become bleak. Because the most important factor in this war was Fang Yuan. When Fang Yuan lowered his prices, they would buy some. Why was that? Firstly, in terms of price, Fang Yuan's was cheaper. It was more affordable. Next, it encouraged Fang Yuan to pressure the three sellers to lower their prices. In the end, Fang Yuan would not be able to hold on. Because the side that lowered their prices would suffer losses. But after the prices fell to the bottom, the buyers would gain the most. If the prices were the same, most of them would not choose to buy Fang Yuan's Year GU. A business war was a psychological game like this. After the second price cut, the four sides reached the same level again. Fang Yuan's actions were unexpected again. He paid close attention to jewel yellow skies. When the three sellers lowered their prices, he responded by lowering his prices again. Oh! Many people were shocked. Fang Yuan's reaction was too fast. And because of this speed, many people could sense Fang Yuan's unyielding attitude. The other party is coming at us fiercely. Rong Xin sighed. He felt a trace of pressure. Because among all the sellers, he had the least stock. Towards the end of the war, when the prices of goods fell, there would be a huge buying frenzy. At this time, if there were too few goods, it would be awkward. Others would want to buy your goods but you have no stock. Not only would you be eliminated early, the buyers would also think that you were weak. The reputation that you accumulated over the years would be greatly damaged. Rong Xin did not want that to happen. On one hand, he urged others to refine Year GU to replenish their supply. On the other hand, he was thinking about whether he should lower his price or not. More specifically, if he lowered his prices by a large margin, to the extent that others would not dare to follow him, because it would be too much of a loss. But it would not be too large, at least, the buyers would think that they could wait and see. This way, as long as they had enough time, Rong Xin could replenish his stock and win the war. But if I lower my prices, the other two parties might guess that I do not have much stock. Rong Xin hesitated. Because he could think of this method to help him get through this crisis. The other two parties were also very experienced, so there was a high possibility that they could reverse the situation on their side. After all, deductions were not difficult. As long as one was experienced, they would have this kind of sensitivity. This way, if Rong Xin did this, he would be exposing his weakness. He might be eliminated early. Thus, Rong Xin was not only hesitant, he was having a headache. He felt a huge headache. Because not only did he have to consider the mentality of the buyers and sellers, he also had to pay attention to his competitors. Just as he was hesitating, Xie Baoshu and Wang Mingyu lowered their prices again. The result was the same as before, maintaining the same price as Fang Yuan's. Both of them had sufficient stock, especially Wang Mingyu. They were not anxious. Since Fang Yuan wanted to start a war and lower their prices, they would fight him to the end. After all, as long as they were at the same price, buyers were more willing to buy their goods. This was a huge advantage. This was the third time they were at the same price. Hearing this news, Fang Yuan laughed heartily. His gaze was filled with a cold light. In that case, I will slightly increase my pace. Thus, he lowered his prices again. And this time, it was a huge reduction, far larger than before. This caused a huge commotion in jewel yellow skies. The buyers were very excited. This was the result of their restraint. It was also the result of their victory. So much at once. Xie Baoshu's expression turned grim. He felt Fang Yuan's aggressiveness. If the previous few punches were just a few light punches, then this time, it was a heavy kick. But Xie Baoshu had to accept it. If he did not, he would be eliminated. Buyers had no loyalty to speak of. Business wars were very cruel. Xie Baoshu lowered his price first. Wang Mingyu lowered her price as well. Both sides were at the same price again. Rong Xin felt a huge headache. He had wanted to lower his own price, but after hesitating for a while, he did not expect the other party to act before he did. This way, not only did his plan fail, even if he wanted to continue with his original plan, he would need to ask Rong Xin to lower his price even more. But this way, the price was dangerous. Because if it was much lower than the normal price of Year GU, buyers would definitely buy it. Maybe that mysterious seller does not have much stock. Does he have the same plan as me? Rong Xin still had a trace of hope. He followed up and lowered his price to the same as the other three parties. They all lowered their prices. Ha ha ha. The buyers were happy of course, but what made them even happier was yet to come. When Rong Xin lowered his price, Fang Yuan followed up and lowered his own Year GU's price again. And this time, the price was even higher than before. Jewel yellow skies was shaken. The three sellers were shocked. This guy is incredible. Xie Baoshu had a solemn expression. He was originally calm and collected, he did not show his emotions on his face, but now, he could not hide it anymore. Fang Yuan lowered his price this time. It greatly reduced the profits of the year GU trade. As for the three sellers, if they followed up, they would suffer huge losses. This is a huge gamble. Wang Mingyu was tongue-tied. She felt a chill that she had not felt for a long time. Chapter 1465. Genius 1 second. Remember if you want to go. TalkNet, providing you with exciting novels to read. Rong Shin's last bit of hope was completely extinguished. Because he knew that the other party was not in the same situation as him, they had a lot of goods. Because at this price, there would be a buying frenzy for year GU. Chew, this time, I lost. Rong Shin smiled bitterly, but he had no choice, he did not have enough goods. There was no need for any reason, failure had its reasons. But in this world, people did not look at reasons, they did not need reasons. They only looked at failure. Like Rong Shin expected, after Fang Yuan lowered his price, a buying frenzy erupted. Many buyers started to buy year GU. It was rare to see such a cheap price. How could they not grab this opportunity? A large number of transactions were carried out. Fang Yuan was raking in money every day. The other three parties did not make a move. Xie Baoshu and Wang Mingyu were hesitating. Rong Shin was hesitating earlier, now it was their turn. If they followed up and lowered their prices like Fang Yuan, their year GU would be bought by a large number of GU immortals as well. But that way, their profits would be very low. Their injuries were far from what they had expected. But if they did not follow up and Fang Yuan stole their business, what would they do? The crux of this matter was how much Fang Yuan had in stock. If Fang Yuan had a lot of stock, Xie Baoshu and the rest would follow up. The market was only so big. Fang Yuan had a huge appetite because he had a lot of goods. If he ate more, others would eat less. But if Fang Yuan did not have a lot of stock, Xie Baoshu and the rest would not need to lower their prices, they only needed to maintain the same price. When Fang Yuan sold all of his stock, they would continue to sell at a higher price, their profits would be preserved. They would be the victors of this trade war. Thus, Xie Baoshu and the rest started to guess who Fang Yuan was. Was he a man or a woman? What force was he? Or was he a person? Why was there no news of him earlier? Why did he suddenly jump out of a rock? The three parties were puzzled. Fang Yuan's appearance was too sudden. Actually, in the year GU market, other than the three giants, there were other small sellers. However, these people were quickly ruled out by the three parties, because none of them could be. These small sellers must be watching this intense battle with pale faces. Rong Shin's mood improved at the thought of this. He was unlucky this time, and it was very likely that he would be the first to be eliminated. However, when he thought about it, there were others who were even more unlucky than him, and he felt a little better. But this was just a way for him to comfort himself. It was of no use in reality. No matter how the three magnates tried to guess, they could not figure out Fang Yuan's background. To be on the safe side, Xie Baoshu and Wang Mingyu decided to follow in Fang Yuan's footsteps. They lowered their prices to the same level as Fang Yuan. On the other hand, Rong Shin maintained her previous price. Looks like Rong Shin thinks that the other party doesn't have much in store, Xie Baoshu thought. What he did not know was that Rong Shin had no choice. He did not have much in stock. If he lowered his price by so much, it would cause a buying frenzy, his stock would be sold out and he would be eliminated. He might as well maintain his current price and take a gamble. If Fang Yuan did not have so much in stock, he would win the gamble, he would still have a chance to stay in the market and fight. If he lost the gamble, so be it, he was going to lose anyway. Xie Baoshu did not know Rong Shin's background, he thought that he felt that Fang Yuan did not have much left, so he wanted to take a risk. But Xie Baoshu was a calm person, he had to follow up, it was the safest. As for Wang Mingyu, after thinking about it, she made the same decision as Xie Baoshu. But as a female, she was more suspicious. She thought, why is Rong Shin not lowering his price? Is he taking a gamble, or does he really know the other party's background, or does he have any evidence or information? If Rong Shin knew about Fang Yuan's background, It was very likely that she did not tell them about it. This was called watching the tigers fight. Rongxin had a huge advantage. Thus, Wang Mingyu contacted Rongxin and asked him about it. When Rongxin received Wang Mingyu's message, he did not know whether to laugh or cry. He even felt some pity towards Wang Mingyu. His emotions were complex. Thus, the situation became, Fang Yuan, Xie Baoshu, and Wang Mingyu had the same price, while Rongxin's price was higher. At this time, a large number of GU immortals started to buy Ye GU, or were preparing to sell. Almost everyone was moved. Because this price was much lower than before, it was very attractive. If he lowered it further, the buyers shook their heads. It could not go much lower. The buyers were smart, the sellers were not fools either. Thus, when Fang Yuan lowered his price again, everyone was stunned. Did I hear wrongly? He lowered his price again? And by such a huge amount. Oh my God, what is going on? Is that newbie stupid? The buyers were in disbelief. I don't care if he's an idiot or if he's plotting something. I know that his Ye GU is real, he is selling it at this price. If I don't buy it now, I would be a fool. Some GU immortals shouted internally. Were these not the thoughts of others as well? A large number of GU immortals' divine senses or wills surrounded Fang Yuan's stall. It was an unprecedented scene. Buy, buy, buy. The GU immortals were all thinking the same thing. This was an unprecedented bargain. If they did not buy it now, it would be too late when that fool realized it. There was an inexplicable sense of urgency in the hearts of the buyers. What is wrong with this person? Knowing this, Xie Baoshu could not remain calm anymore. At this price, if he continued to follow it and lowered the price at the same time, then his profit would really only be that little. If in the past, he could earn 100 per year GU, if he lowered his price like Fang Yuan, he would only earn a single-digit profit. Why did Xie Baoshu nurture vicissitude tree so hard? Wasn't it to nurture Ye GU and earn profits? If he lowered his price like Fang Yuan, his goal of earning money would be destroyed. This price was beyond his bottom line. If he sold it like this, he might as well not buy it. But Xie Baoshu frowned, he fell into deep thought. At the same time, Wang Mingyu was worried. She was in the same situation as Xie Baoshu. If she followed Fang Yuan, she would not earn much. But would he stop selling it? It was not so simple. If they did not follow, Fang Yuan's goods would be huge. The market share of Jewel Yellow Skies would be taken by Fang Yuan. There was another possibility, that was Fang Yuan purposely lowered the price. It was just a tactic to win the competition. He was purposely lowering his price. On one hand, he was probing the sellers. On the other hand, he was trying to raise his reputation. If I do not follow, I will be showing weakness, but I can preserve my strength. If I follow, I will be going crazy with that newbie. We will fight to the death. Wang Mingyu thought for a long time before deciding to follow. Because among the three parties, she had the most goods, she had the confidence to continue. But at this time, Xie Baoshu stopped. The price of Ye GU in the market showed that Fang Yuan and Wang Mingyu were leading the way. Xie Baoshu was the second highest, while Rongxin was the highest. Evidently, no one was interested in the latter two stalls. Most of the buyers were gathered at Fang Yuan and Wang Mingyu's stalls. Xie Baoshu was observing. He needed to know if Fang Yuan was putting on a brave front, or if he was really that strong. Wang Mingyu was very nervous, because at this price, she was making a huge loss. But among the three sellers, she was the only one left. Rongxin, on the other hand, was the most leisurely one among them as she watched them fight. It is about time, it is time to deal the fatal blow. Fang Yuan was very calm. At this point in the commercial war, he had roughly tested out the bottom line of the three major sellers. Although Wang Mingyu was still following up and entangling with him, according to the market situation in the past, the strength of the three major sellers should be about the same. Even if Wang Mingyu's strength was slightly higher, it wouldn't be by much. Thinking of this, Fang Yuan lowered his price again. But this time, he did not lower it by a huge margin, he only lowered it by a small amount. However, such a small reduction was like a sharp sword, directly stabbing into the hearts of the three major sellers. This. Rongxin's face turned pale. Xie Baoshu squinted, His expression was dark. Wang Mingyu clenched her fists, gritting her teeth as she said with a shocked expression, "Why is there a need to do this? Why is there a need to do this?" Fang Yuan's reduction was small, but it was a fatal blow, because it exceeded the cost of the 3 sellers. Since Ye Jiyu were being sold, there were costs too. Rongxin needed Jiyu materials to refine Jiyu, he needed immortal essence to activate Jiyu refinement methods. Xie Baoshu needed manpower and resources to nurture vicissitude trees. Even though Wang Mingyu was capturing wild Ye Jiyu from a tributary of the River of Time, the capturing method required immortal essence. At the same time, to maintain and protect the tributary of the River of Time, he needed to invest money. If the price was lower than the cost, he would be selling it at a loss. This was usually done when one had accumulated goods that could not be sold, or when they needed funds urgently. They would use this move in desperation. If this move was used in the battle, the other competitors might be fine, but the seller would be the first to cough up blood. This move was too ruthless, it was ruthless to others, and even more ruthless to oneself. Wang Mingyu was shocked, she did not dare to follow this anymore. She would be an idiot if she continued. This was Ye Jiyu, such a Jiyu worm was actually being sold at a loss. What did that mean? The buyers were stunned. This price was far beyond their imagination, they were tongue-tied and in disbelief. But soon, the Jiyu immortals reacted. Jewel yellow skies exploded. Countless Jiyu immortals surrounded Fang Yuan's stall. The scene had reached an unprecedented level of commotion. This was no longer the concept of buying. It was the concept of earning money. Buying Ye Jiyu at such a price, according to the market situation, they would be making a profit. A large number of transactions were happening. Even the people who bought Ye Jiyu earlier could not help but be moved. They bought from Fang Yuan again. Fang Yuan's business was booming. In contrast, the other 3 sellers were not doing well, they were in dire straits. But at this time, the 3 sellers were not anxious anymore. Who is this newcomer? They are attacking so fiercely, but this time, he might have gone too far. He. Observe. Continue observing. I do not believe that he can maintain the price of Ye Jiyu at such a low level. The 3 sellers were waiting for Fang Yuan to lose control. But Fang Yuan did not think that he could not hold on. Because he was using rank 8 immortal Jiyu years flow like water to produce ordinary Ye Jiyu, he only needed to use rank 8 immortal Gu's immortal essence. As for Fang Yuan, he had a cost. But compared to the other 3 sellers, if the latter's cost was counted as 10, then his cost could only be counted as 3 or 4. Everyone could sell Ye Jiyu, it was the same everywhere. The essence of the price reduction in the battle was to compete with the cost. Chapter 1466. Genius in 1 second. Remember Love Go? TalkNet, providing you with exciting novels to read. It is finally over. This commercial war is truly new. Zhao Lianyun sighed internally. The competition for Ye Jiyu ended with Fang Yuan's victory. This result shocked most Jiyu immortals. It was rare for such a situation to happen. The newcomer had actually defeated the 3 giants of the older generation. Everyone thought that the newcomer was a wolf, while the 3 giants were like lions and tigers. But to think that the newcomer was not a wolf but a dragon. The 3 sellers were not its match, they lost miserably, their Ye Jiyu had not been sold even now. One could imagine that for a period of time, this Ye Jiyu competition would continue to affect the market, it would be a topic of conversation among Jiyu immortals, they would talk about it enthusiastically. Zhao Lianyun started to reflect on this commercial war. She had originally wanted to gain knowledge from this commercial war to help her in the future. Then, in this commercial war, why did the newcomer win, while the 3 old sellers lost? Zhao Lianyun asked herself. Then, she answered herself, because the newcomer is extremely powerful. Even if the 3 sellers join forces, they won't be a match for him or her. Using absolute strength to sweep the market. Zhao Lianyun was slightly dazed, she smiled bitterly. What she wanted to learn was how to enter the market as a newcomer. Fang Yuan's method had the feeling of great ingenuity but not perfection, great wisdom but stupidity. Although its power was unparalleled and it really swept through everything, making the 3 sellers unable to even raise their heads, it was very difficult for Zhao Lianyun to learn. Because this was pure strength. Since the newcomer has such strength, why did he not lower the price to the lowest possible at the start? Zhao Lianyun asked herself. She felt that Fang Yuan's actions were unnecessary. But soon, after she thought about it thoroughly, a flash of understanding flashed through her eyes. I understand. Start with a high price and then slowly lower it. Firstly, it's a method that earns more profits than lowering it all the way to the bottom. Secondly, it should be to test the bottom line of the three major sellers. Thirdly, it's probably a demonstration. Zhao Lianyun's mind was filled with thoughts. The trade war has ended, and the newcomers have won. With this kind of strength, victory is not unexpected, but his or her appetite will not be satisfied with this business war. The newcomer wants to dominate the jewel yellow skies market. Not only did he defeat the three major sellers, but he also pushed them out of the market. This person is so domineering. Sigh, when will I be able to possess such strength? Zhao Lianyun couldn't help but let out a long sigh. She had just started developing her immortal aperture. She was far from Fang Yuan's level. No matter what, she had already remembered Fang Yuan's fatty will. Zhao Lianyun treated him like a mountain. She, who had just become a GU immortal, could only look up to him in awe. Rong Xin, Wang Mingyu, and Xie Baoshu were discussing. Sigh, where did this person come from? He or she has immense strength. He or she can satisfy the entire jewel yellow skies market alone. We cannot sell our year GU now. Wang Mingyu sighed. The situation is not so simple. This person is trying to kill us all. Xie Baoshu's expression was pale. His voice turned sharp. Brother Xie is right. This person is selling so many year GU at such a low price. In the next 2 to 3 years, jewel yellow skies year GU market will be at an extremely low level. No matter who he or she is, this is too much. Not only is he eating the meat, he is not even leaving any soup for others. Rong Xin's expression was dark. The three major sellers had year GU, but they could not sell them. Year GU was something everyone needed. Fang Yuan supplied so many at once, it caused a huge commotion, causing the GU immortals to hoard a large amount of year GU. Year GU were easy to feed, they only needed to consume the water of the river of time. Hoarding year GU was not difficult at all. This way, not just now, even in the next 2 to 3 years, the three major sellers would not be able to sell their year GU. As far as the buyers were concerned, they already had year GU, why would they buy from them? Unless they sold year GU at a lower price, they might just hoard another batch of year GU. But the three sellers could not sell their year GU at such a low price like Fang Yuan's. The three sellers were hoarding year GU for the time being. But what was the use of doing so? After 2 to 3 years, the market would slowly digest the year GU that Fang Yuan supplied, and there would be a demand for year GU again. The price of year GU would rise too. By then, the three sellers could sell, but so could Fang Yuan. As long as he did the same thing, the three sellers' year GU would still rot in his hands. This was strength. With the disparity in strength, all kinds of plots and schemes were useless. Fang Yuan was also an intelligent person, but this time, he went straight to the point, using the kingly way to crush them. It was also the most effective. After the three sellers discussed for a while, they fell silent. The atmosphere was heavy. Because they knew in their hearts that as long as Fang Yuan's strength was here, they would not have a good time. Even though the year GU trade would not stop, this source of income would shrink. At least, they would have to give up on the jewel yellow skies market. Right now, our only hope is that this person's strength is fake. He is just trying to scare us. It's just a bluff. Wang Mingyu smiled bitterly and broke the silence. The other two immortals shook their heads. The possibility was very small. We can cooperate. Rong Xin quickly said. This was a solution. Back then, the three of them had argued with each other and were equally matched. That was how they had come to an agreement to work together and benefit from it for many years. But how can we cooperate with this person? The difference in strength is obvious. Wang Mingyu sighed. Xie Baoshu said calmly, that will depend on our abilities. If Ye Jiyu cannot convince him, there are other things. What if he does not agree? Wang Mingyu asked. Xie Baoshu was silent. Rong Xin sighed bitterly. If he does not agree and wants to kill us, we will have to give up on the Year GU business. There was no other way. Competition was cruel. With Fang Yuan's strength, the three sellers had no way to survive. They could only give up on Year GU. But could they give it up so easily? The profits from the Year GU trade supported these three and the super forces behind them. Who could accept it if it suddenly collapsed? No. I cannot give up on the Year GU business. Xie Baoshu gritted his teeth. He was a lone cultivator. He relied on the Year GU business to support his cultivation and maintain his network. Now that it was gone, it was a fatal blow to him. Wang Mingyu's situation was better than Xie Baoshu. She was once a lone immortal. She had turned to the righteous path and joined a superforce. She did not have any profits. It was not her fault. On the other hand, she could rely on her husband and the clan behind her. Rong Xin had the least pressure. Because he was a member of a superforce, Central Continent Superforce, he had immense strength. And most importantly, he obtained Year GU through GU refinement. If he did not need Year GU, he just needed to stop refining GU. It was easy for a small boat to turn around. You want to cooperate with me? Fang Yuan soon received the information from the three sellers. He snickered coldly. Why cooperate? He could keep this for himself. Why would he share it with others? Fang Yuan rejected them without hesitation. 12 million immortal yuan stones. This was Fang Yuan's gains from this battle. Even though the price was low, the sales volume was too high, it was a small profit but quick turnover. When I get rid of these three sellers, I will be able to raise the price slightly. But in the next few years, they will probably last for a while. Fang Yuan estimated. On one hand, the three sellers were unwilling to give up. On the other hand, they wanted to probe Fang Yuan's foundation, to prevent him from exaggerating his strength. Thirdly, even though the Jewel Yellow Skies market was monopolized by Fang Yuan, not everyone was buying from Jewel Yellow Skies. For example, Wang Mingyu had a super force behind her. Most of her Year GU would be consumed by herself. Other than that, there would be other forces that had strong connections. They would still purchase Year GU in large quantities, even if the price was higher. Of course, in this situation, as long as Fang Yuan continued to monopolize the Jewel Yellow Skies market and use this low price to push out his competitors, in 5 to 6 years, the three sellers would have a tough time. After all, the price was right there. Even those with strong connections would come to Fang Yuan's side. In the entire GU Immortal market, Jewel Yellow Skies occupied the majority. From now on, Fang Yuan only needed to monopolize the Jewel Yellow Skies market and influence other markets. Eventually, he would become the leader of the Year GU business in the entire GU Immortal market. As for others, even though they could do some Year GU business, they could not compare to Fang Yuan. After repaying my debts, I still have more than 10 million immortal yuan stones left. But in the next 2 to 3 years, I cannot rely on Year GU to make money. Just as Fang Yuan was thinking about how to use this immortal yuan stone to manage his immortal aperture, Sixth Heir came to find him. He brought Fang Yuan a huge piece of good news. Chapter 1467. Genius 1 second. Remember love. Go away. TalkNet, providing you with exciting novels to read. A small food path immortal GU was placed on Fang Yuan's palm. It was green in color, it was the size of an adult's finger, but its body had 6 segments. It looked like a caterpillar. But on its forehead, there was a thin silver horn. At this moment, it was lying on Fang Yuan's palm, moving according to Fang Yuan's will. It had already been refined by Fang Yuan. Once a refinement path GU immortal refines an immortal GU, in most situations, this immortal GU would have already been refined by the refinement path GU immortal. That was to say, Sixth Heir was the owner of this food path immortal GU. However, under Sixth Heir's guidance, it was much easier for Fang Yuan to refine this food path immortal GU compared to refining wild immortal GU. Rank 6 food path immortal GU snack. This was one of the requirements that Fang Yuan asked Lang Ya sect to refine for him. After inheriting Zishan Makoto's inheritance, he asked Lang Ya sect to refine 3 immortal GU for him. Right now, they were all completed. They were rank 7 immortal GU self-love, rank 6 immortal GU cleanse soul, and rank 6 immortal GU snack. These 3 immortal GU were things that Fang Yuan needed urgently. Self-love immortal GU was very useful, it was the core of self-cleansing, it was indispensable. Fang Yuan was able to escape the Celestial Court's investigation because of it. Even though cleanse soul immortal GU was rank 6, its difficulty and time to refine was the highest among the 3 immortal GU. But after it was refined, it helped Fang Yuan resolve the soul path trap on the strength path 8-arm immortal zombie body, allowing Fang Yuan to use the light of wisdom again. It had also contributed greatly to the battle. As for snack immortal GU, it was a food path immortal GU. To solve the problem of feeding his immortal GU, Fang Yuan had a huge need for it. The immortal GU recipe of snack immortal GU came from Shadow Sect's inheritance. The origin was related to spectral soul demon Venerable. When he was alive, he risked his life to obtain a food path true inheritance from a beastman GU immortal. And that beastman GU immortal was the legendary person who created food path. The ancestors planted trees, the descendants benefited from the shade. The food path true inheritance in Fang Yuan's hands was the most authentic version in the world. Trying to inject red date immortal essence, snack immortal Gu's caterpillar-like body shook, then like it was drunk, the lower half of its body lay on Fang Yuan's palm while the upper half of its body stood up, shaking its head continuously. In the process of shaking, its originally tender green body continuously turned red, and finally became the red of magma. At the same time, its body, which was originally as slender as a human's index finger, gradually became thicker and harder. Poochie. In the end, it spat out a large amount of viscous, orange-yellow liquid from its mouth. Then, it quickly withered and its body shrank, becoming even smaller than its original size. At the same time, the color of his body changed from magma red to pale white, giving off a feeling of weakness. With the food path true inheritance, Fang Yuan knew clearly, snack immortal GU had a limit to its usage. After using it once, it needed to recover before it could be used again. If it was used continuously, it would not be able to hold on. After spitting out large amounts of orange-yellow liquid, it would die rapidly. Love go small say netk only after it recovered, when its body returned to its tender green color, would it be able to use it again. Fang Yuan kept snack immortal GU into his immortal aperture, then looked at the orange-yellow liquid that it spat out. This liquid was very special, it floated in the air on its own, it did not fall down, it had already shrunk into a small ball. To use an analogy, it was like a healthy egg, the egg white and yolk were mixed together. This thick orange-yellow liquid was what Fang Yuan wanted. With it, he could use it to replace a portion of food ingredients to feed immortal GU. As for other rank 6 immortal GU, this orange-yellow liquid could replace 6% of their food ingredients, rank 7 and above would have a lower effect. 6% of 100 wins seemed like a small amount, but in a few days, snack immortal GU could be used again, it could spit out a second round of orange-yellow liquid. This way, it would be a huge help in feeding immortal GU. Of course, the orange-yellow liquid had a limit. It could only replace 40% of the immortal Gu's food ingredients. Beyond this, no amount of feeding immortal GU would have any effect. Fang Yuan took out an immortal GU, it quickly swallowed this orange-yellow liquid. The experiment was perfect. Fang Yuan nodded in satisfaction, he sighed internally. He had been coveting food path methods for a long time, because after rebirth, he had many immortal GU, the burden of feeding them was on his shoulders. Before this, for a long time, Fang Yuan had been busy feeding immortal GU. To think that I would obtain a food path true inheritance from my enemy, Shadow Sect. And it is the most outstanding food path true inheritance in the world. And the process of refining snack immortal GU is much easier than cleanse soul and self-love. The refinement of immortal GU was hard to predict. Fang Yuan had failed many times to refine cleanse soul, but he had only tried 5 times to refine snack immortal GU. It was a pleasant surprise that he succeeded on the 5th try. With this snack immortal GU, Fang Yuan's pressure in feeding immortal GU was greatly reduced. Rank 6 immortal GU could reduce the food ingredients by 40%, Fang Yuan could use immortal essence to feed them. Even though rank 7 and 8 immortal GU had lesser effects, the burden was much lighter. After all, Fang Yuan had a lot of immortal GU with him now. Snack immortal GU was very valuable to him. A few days later, Fang Yuan bought a batch of desolate plants from Jewel Yellow Skies. This batch of desolate plants was a layer of light green moss, attached to the surface of the colorful corals. They were light shine fungi. Light shine fungi came from the deep sea of Eastern Sea. It was completely dark there was no light. Perhaps it was because of the extreme that the light shine fungus was born in such an environment. The intense light it emitted illuminated the pitch-black bottom of the sea as if it were daytime. Fang Yuan had once bought a batch at the Eastern Sea Trading Convention, but back then, the owner was Tong Hua. He only traded and did not sell. After that, she sold the light shine fungi to Jewel Yellow Skies, but after a period of market evaluation, the price became lower and lower. Initially, GU Immortals were very interested in this desolate plant. But later on, the buyers found that this plant was most suitable to be grown in the dark sea. Not only was there no water there was a huge amount of water and pressure. After leaving this environment, even though the light shine fungi would not die, they would become weak. The light they emitted was only comparable to candlelight. In this situation, Fang Yuan negotiated with Tong Hua. He bought almost all of her light shine fungi at a very low price. Fang Yuan first placed a batch in his Immortal Aperture's mini Eastern Sea to nurture as a backup. Next, he experimented on another batch. He needed to modify these desolate plants, to change their habits and make them his. Fang Yuan's wood path attainment level was very ordinary, but he was very confident. On one hand, he had many methods. He had Shadow Sect's inheritances and Lang Ya Sect's true inheritances. A large number of modification methods were in Fang Yuan's hands. They involved wood path, soul path, refinement path, and many other paths. Chapter 1468. Genius 1 second. Remember if you want to go. TalkNet, providing you with exciting novels to read. In the vast Eastern Sea, waves surged. Winds and waves crashed on a nameless island. It was not evening yet, but the sky was already dark. The female immortal Tong Hua flew as she raised her head, seeing that the sky was covered in dark clouds, a sign that a storm was about to arrive. She felt vexed inwardly, but her expression was calm. Soon, she flew to the sky above the nameless island and saw a person standing at the highest peak of the island, looking at the sea and sky. Ren Xiu, thank you for waiting. Tong Hua landed behind that GU Immortal and bowed slightly. The mysterious GU Immortal slowly turned around, showing his appearance. He was an old man with a tall nose and thin eyes. He had a smile on his face as he said calmly, "No worries. I have to congratulate Fairy Tong Hua. I heard that the light shine fungi that you stored in Jewel Yellow Skies have all been sold." This old GU Immortal was an Eastern Sea rank 7 enslavement path GU Immortal, Ren Xiuping. Fairy Tong Hua nodded, handing a large amount of immortal yuan stones to Ren Xiuping. After Ren Xiuping counted them, he purposely hesitated. "Fairy, if I am not wrong, this amount is slightly lacking." Fairy Tong Hua's expression was grim. She nodded. "I will return most of it to you first. I will return the remaining portion to you in the future." Ren Xiuping nodded. "Fairy, this is a wise move. According to the loan agreement between you and me, the lesser the debt, the lesser the interest. It seems that you will be able to clear your debt soon." Fairy Tong Hua snorted coldly. Of course. Earlier, she had passed a tribulation and rebuilt her immortal aperture. She spent a lot of money and had no choice but to borrow money. Ren Xiuping was one of them. He lent her the most immortal yuan stones. However, the agreement between her and Ren Xiuping was also the strictest. The interest was extremely high. Originally, Fairy Tong Hua was in a dangerous situation, but to think that Fang Yuan bought all of her light shine fungi, causing her to recover her funds. This time, she paid off most of the debt. The crisis was greatly alleviated. Fairy Tong Hua didn't feel much pressure to pay off the rest of the immortal essence stones that she owed. Fairy Tong Hua didn't want to stay any longer and was about to leave when Ren Xiuping said, "Fairy, please wait. Is there anything else, fellow immortal Ren? If you still want to borrow my celestial yuan stone, Forgive me for being honest, but I won't. Fairy Tonghua frowned and said coldly. Ren Xiaoping smiled and said, Fairy, don't worry, it's not about that. It's just that I have an incomplete true inheritance that came from a wood path great figure in the past. Didn't Fairy want to modify the light shine fungus? I believe that the contents of this true inheritance will be of great help to you. Fairy Tonghua was surprised. How did you know that I'm trying to improve the light shine fungus? Ren Xiaoping chuckled. Fairy, you didn't deliberately hide this matter. This old man will know after a little investigation. Fairy Tonghua's face was as dark as the current sky. Hua, hua, hua. Strong winds blew, creating countless waves that crashed on the shore of the nameless island, creating huge waves. Ren Xiaoping was right. Tonghua invested too much in modifying the light shine fungus, causing her family's finances to collapse. She had to borrow money from everywhere to barely survive. If not for that, with her original foundation, she could rebuild her immortal aperture. After a while of silence, Fairy Tonghua spoke again. Which wood path great expert are you talking about? Ren Xiaoping smiled. Wood path Gu immortal Kuei Wuzi, have you heard of him? Fairy Tonghua was slightly shocked. He is indeed a wood path great expert. He has rank 8 cultivation level. But in history, he is famous for his battle strength, but his immortal aperture management skills are not good. Ren Xiaoping shook his head and said in a certain tone, Fairy, you are wrong. The reason why you have such an impression is because Kuei Wuzi's battle strength is too dazzling, it overshadowed his immortal aperture management skills. In truth, he is not bad. Without the foundation of his immortal aperture, no matter how strong his battle strength is, it will only last for a moment. Furthermore, even if his management skills are not good, he is still a rank 8 Gu immortal, and a wood path Gu immortal, he will be of great help to you. There is no doubt about this. Tonghua was moved, she thought. My previous modification of the light shine fungus was obstructed not because of my light path attainment level, but because my wood path attainment level is not high. If I can obtain this incomplete true inheritance, it might help me. Maybe I can succeed in modifying the light shine fungus. Thinking of this, Tonghua hesitated before asking Ren Xiaoping, what is the price of this Kuei Wuzi true inheritance? Ren Xiaoping thought the fish has taken the bait, but he said, not high, not high. Both sides negotiated for a while. Eventually, Fairy Tonghua bought Kuei Wuzi's true inheritance from Ren Xiaoping and left the nameless island. The moment she left, a storm started. The sky and sea were both dark and gloomy. Crack. With a loud sound of thunder, snake-like lightning flashed in the sky. At this moment, the lightning shined on Ren Xiaoping's face. His face was filled with a smile. It was the smile of someone whose scheme succeeded. This plan succeeded. Tonghua has already been deceived by Kuei Wuzi's reputation. His true inheritance cannot help her as much as she imagined. Especially after I purposely cut out a lot of crucial information. Light shine fungus is a desolate plant. How can it be so easy to modify a desolate plant? Especially when Tonghua is not a wood path Gu immortal, she cultivates light path. Without years of research, how can she succeed? Northern Plains, Lang Ye blessed land. Fang Yuan's divine sense entered the sovereign immortal aperture. Immortal killer move, fungal light illumination. Fang Yuan activated his immortal killer move, creating a dazzling orange-yellow light. The orange light shined on the green light shine fungus in front of him. It started to transform. At an observable speed, the green light shine fungus seemed to be dyed with paint. It started to change color from green to pure white. A moment later, the immortal killer move was activated. Fang Yuan could only see the pure white light shine fungus in front of him. These light shine fungus were different from before. They were no longer weak, they were shining brightly. Fang Yuan used his investigative method to inspect them. He nodded in satisfaction. Good, now the light shine fungus modification is a success. I can plant them on a large scale. Fang Yuan's wood path attainment was lower than Fairy Tonghua. But he had the light of wisdom, he could use it to think. And Shadow Sects and Lang Ye Sects inheritances had a vast amount of information, giving him the strongest theoretical foundation. He also had a large number of immortal Gu with him, or he could borrow them. All these reasons allowed him to create the immortal killer move, Fungal Light Illumination. This move used Perseverance Immortal GU, Self-Love Immortal GU, and Wood Sprout Immortal GU as the cause, with Snack Immortal GU as the supplementary GU. It could transform the green light shine fungus into pure white light shine fungi that were suitable for the sky. Among them, Wood Sprout Immortal GU was borrowed by Fang Yuan from Lang Ya sect. Perseverance Immortal GU and Self-Love Immortal GU, Fang Yuan already had them. As for Snack Immortal GU, he had just refined it. It was a small surprise to be able to use it here. Next, Fang Yuan placed these light shine fungi in Mini Orange Heaven and Mini White Heaven. In Mini Orange Heaven, there was an aurora light. It was very beautiful. Within the aurora light, there were fruits, flowing light fruits. And in Mini White Heaven, there was a small-scale overlord flower field. After the light shine fungi were placed, the two places became brighter and brighter. Affected by this, the aurora light in Mini Orange Heaven started to expand. Even though it was slight, as time passed, the growth could not be underestimated. And in Mini White Heaven, the overlord flower with its petals seemed to have become more energetic. Be it the aurora light or the overlord flower, they needed intense light. The modified pure white light shine fungi could float in the air. It was very useful for these two places. Fang Yuan observed for a while. He was very satisfied. As long as these two places are constructed, at this rate, I will be able to satisfy the food problem of Attitude GU and Wisdom Sword GU. Fang Yuan had 3 rank 8 immortal GU, among them, Years Flow Like Water only consumed the water of the River of Time. It was not a problem to feed it. Attitude GU and Wisdom Sword GU were hard to feed. All along, Fang Yuan had been worried about this. Now he finally saw hope. Furthermore, the light shine fungi can reproduce on their own. In the future, my light shine fungi will continue to grow. I might even be able to export them. This was very possible. Fang Yuan's modified pure white light shine fungi had a huge market. It was much better than the original light shine fungi. Once it was put on the market, it would attract good reviews and buyers. Fang Yuan had already planned to nurture both light shine fungi. He would place some light shine fungi in Mini Eastern Sea, while the pure white light shine fungi would be nurtured. He would satisfy his own needs before selling them to the outside world. Let me calculate. For the light shine fungi to reach a certain scale and satisfy my needs, I will need to invest 2 million immortal yuan stone. To sell them to the outside world, I will need to invest another 1,800,000 immortal yuan stone. The main reason was that the burden of feeding rank 8 immortal GU was too heavy. In total, he would need to invest 4 million immortal yuan stone. But if he succeeded, he would have a monopoly on this trade. It would be very profitable. In the next 2 to 3 years, Fang Yuan could not rely on year GU at all. Even after 4 to 5 years, the year GU market in Jewel Yellow Skies would be very low. Because GU Immortals had large amounts of year GU, they had little demand. This time, Fang Yuan was putting in a lot of effort. Selling year GU caused the sales of day GU and month GU to be greatly affected. Fang Yuan wanted to develop rubbings. Light shine fungi was a good project. Of course, its prospects could not compare to Guts GU. Because after the modified pure white light shine fungi were sold for a long time, people would unravel the profundity within and modify it themselves. And Guts GU could only be obtained by those with Dang Hun Mountain. Chapter 1469. Genius 1 second. Remember if you want to go. TalkNet, providing you with exciting novels to read. Northern Plains, Northern Icy Plain. Cold winds howled, snow fluttered on the glacier. And under this glacier, there was a negotiation that had a frozen atmosphere. The two variant human races that lived here and concealed their identities, rockmen and snowmen, not long ago, because of a territorial dispute, they started a negotiation. Right now, this negotiation had already gone on for 6 days and 6 nights. Mo Li area is the territory of my Rockman tribe. 400 years ago, it was an inseparable territory of my Rockman tribe. This is the bottom line of my Rockman tribe, Snowman tribe, please understand. Shizong's voice was very loud, it reverberated in the room. The Rockman GU immortals who participated in the negotiation had cold expressions. And the Snowman GU immortals had ashen expressions, they were even uglier. The Rockman tribe's attitude was very unyielding, it gave huge pressure to the Snowman tribe. Snowman GU immortal Bing Yuan spoke, 400 years ago, that was indeed the case. But afterwards, a GU immortal senior of my tribe won a bet with Shizong's first supreme elder. Mo Li area was the stake of the bet. Shizong quickly waved his hand, that was just a joke, don't take it seriously. Bing Yuan sneered, back then, we made a bet. Shizong's expression was solemn, he asked, where is the bet? Bing Yuan was speechless from anger. This Shizong did not care about his face at all. Not only did he use such a method to cancel the alliance agreement, he even wanted to renege on the bet. As the Grand First Elder of the Stone Golem tribe, he was simply too shameless. But even though the Snowman GU immortals were furious, they could understand. Because in this icy plain, there was very little land, the Rockmen and Snowmen had lived for a long time, they had too many people, the land was already overburdened. Stone Ancestor was willing to give up his face to take back the Moli region. This was also for the sake of the Stone Man race's overall situation, seeking benefits for the Stone Man race. But this way, the Snowman tribe's benefits would be violated. Finally, this difficult negotiation had a result. The Snowmen lost, the Rockmen won, they took control of the Moli region. Immediately, the Stone Golem tribe ordered all the Snowmen in the Moli area to move out, leaving space for the Stone Golem tribe to take over. After returning to his territory, Rank 7 GU Immortal Bing Zhuo was furious. This Rockman tribe is too hateful, they are distorting the truth just because they have a Rank 8 battle strength immemorial rock dragon? Bing Yuan consoled him, calm down, Bing Zhuo. Haven't we seen through the Stoneman tribe's attitude after 1,000 years? In the northern icefield, the Stoneman tribe and the Snowman tribe depended on each other, but overall, the Stoneman tribe had the upper hand. There was only one reason, they had the immemorial rock dragon, it had Rank 8 battle strength. With such powerful battle prowess, the Stone Golem tribe had the upper hand in many conflicts and protected their own interests. At the mention of the immemorial rock dragon, the anger on Bing Zhuo's face quickly faded, turning into a helpless sigh. Rank 8 battle strength, immemorial rock dragon. If only our tribe had Rank 8 battle strength, we would be able to fight them evenly, how good would that be? Bing Yuan was silent for a while before saying, it is not impossible to have Rank 8 battle strength. I have a plan, if it really succeeds, what would the immemorial rock dragon amount to? Bing Zhuo heard this and his eyes brightened. What plan? Quickly tell me. Actually, this plan has already been brewing in my heart for a long time. At this moment, it can be considered to be an opportunity. Thus, I'll tell you about it, Bing Yuan slowly said. Bing Zhuo heard this and said in shock, you are talking about Liu Guanyi, oh no, Fang Yuan? Liu Guanyi's identity was Fang Yuan. This news had been announced by the Celestial Court long ago, it was spread all over the world. Even though the Snowman tribe lived in a remote corner of the world, they still knew about such important news. Fang Yuan has Rank 8 battle strength, it is publicly acknowledged. He also has the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle. Not long ago, we formed a good relationship with him, so if Shuera marries him, our Snowman tribe will have a marriage alliance with him, we will be able to bind him to our tribe. With this backing, we will not be bullied by the Rockmen anymore. Furthermore, with a Rank 8, our tribe's development will be greatly beneficial. Bing Yuan said. Bing Zhuo thought about it as he nodded. Indeed, even though Fang Yuan is a human, he is an enemy of the world, he has already joined Lang Ya sect, there is no problem with his faction. But wait a moment. Bing Zhuo looked at Bing Yuan in confusion. Our tribe has a good relationship with him? Why do I remember that we only had an intense battle with him and ambushed him? Even though we turned hostility into friendship in the end, we are still far from having a good relationship. Bing Yuan smiled. Bing Zhuo, you were in closed cultivation earlier, pondering over the modification of killer moves, that is why you do not know. Recently, Fang Yuan used almost all of Lang Ya sect's resources to refine Immortal GU, he encountered difficulties in the process and needed the Snow Lotus Essence Immortal material. Thus, I made the decision and sold all the snow lotus essences to Lang Ya sect's Gu immortal sixth heir. So that's it. Bingzhou came to a realization, but he soon frowned. Since we sold them, we made a profit. Why didn't we just give them the snow lotus essences back then? Bing Yuan smiled bitterly. This is a serious matter, I could only do that back then. Firstly, the idea of a marriage alliance with Fang Yuan was not very strong. Secondly, if we had directly given them to him, Fang Yuan is not a stupid person, he might not have accepted it. Thirdly, this matter has already been known by others. If we had directly given them to him, the rockmen would be suspicious and make guesses. Bingzhou nodded, not speaking. He knew in his heart that this could not be called a good relationship, it could only be said that their relationship had improved a little. There were many difficulties in marrying Fang Yuan. Because previously, when Fang Yuan had the upper extreme heavenly eagle, the snowman tribe had expressed goodwill to Fang Yuan, but the other party's response was very cold. Now that Fang Yuan had rank 8 battle strength and had the upper extreme heavenly eagle, his status had risen to another level. The snowman tribe wanted to marry Fang Yuan not because they favored Fang Yuan, but because they wanted to curry favor with Fang Yuan. The snowman tribe did not know that Fang Yuan had lost the upper extreme heavenly eagle. But Bing Yuan was more confident than Bingzhou. She said, "Don't worry. My granddaughter is beautiful and a Gu immortal, she is the best candidate for marriage alliance. In this aspect, how can the rockmen have an advantage over us snowmen? This is making use of our strengths and avoiding our weaknesses. Our tribe might be trying to curry favor with Fang Yuan through marriage, but Fang Yuan has our tribe's help, it is also beneficial to him. Let's not talk about other things, but we still have some snow lotus essence left. Moreover, even if this plan fails, it is not a big deal, it will not ruin our relationship with Fang Yuan. Let's give it a try." This give it a try finally moved Bingzhou. The latter nodded, "Then let's give it a try." Inside the sovereign immortal aperture. Swoosh swoosh. The waves of the river of time surged, resounding in Fang Yuan's ears. Fang Yuan's divine sense scanned the surroundings. After observing for a while and confirming that there were no mistakes, he retracted his divine sense. Using the time path methods of Heifan's true inheritance, Fang Yuan restored the flow of time in his sovereign immortal aperture to its original speed. The resources in the sovereign immortal aperture were very superior, far surpassing super-grade blessed lands. In terms of space path resources, the entire sovereign immortal aperture was extremely spacious, it was 250 million km². In terms of time path, after restoring it, the flow rate was 1:60 compared to the outside world. A super-grade blessed land of the 10 extreme physiques was only 1:40. As for a high-grade blessed land, it was 1:30, it was half the size of the sovereign immortal aperture. At the same time, the sovereign immortal aperture's immortal aperture origin core was also very abundant, 96 beads of immortal essence would be produced in the immortal aperture every year. In terms of outside time, that was 16 beads of immortal essence per day. Right now, Fang Yuan was a rank 7 Gu immortal, he obtained 16 red date immortal essence beads. 16 red date immortal essence beads, if converted to immortal ascension yuan stone, would be equivalent to 1,600 immortal ascension yuan stone. That was to say, even if Fang Yuan did not do anything every day, just the red date immortal essence produced in his immortal aperture would be equivalent to 1,600 immortal yuan stone. This was a little terrifying. But the truth was, it was far from that. When Fang Yuan's time path Dao marks increased, the immortal aperture's time flow would also increase. When the immortal aperture origin core became more abundant, the immortal essence produced would also increase. At rank 8 cultivation level, it would be even more terrifying. According to the most basic standard, 16 beads of immortal essence per day, rank 8 yellow lychee immortal essence would be converted to immortal ascension yuan stone, that would be 160,000 immortal ascension yuan stone. Fang Yuan had earned over 10 million immortal ascension yuan stone by selling year GU in jewel yellow skies. When he reached rank 8 cultivation level, he would not need to do anything. Just 100 days in the outside world would be worth 16 million immortal ascension yuan stone. The higher the cultivation level, the greater the wealth. This kind of gap was not a simple linear one. It was a geometrical rise. Of course, this was Fang Yuan's situation. The sovereign immortal aperture was a special case, it was unique in the world. Shadow Sect used 100,000 years of accumulation, almost all of it was used to refine this GU. It was not hard to understand why it had such a terrifying advantage. Previously, Fang Yuan had no choice but to slow down the flow of time because of providence and the calamities and tribulations. But now, Fang Yuan's battle strength rose, he was confident he could survive the calamities and tribulations. At the same time, he had Old Man Inkstone's immortal killer move exposed heavenly secret to deduce the contents of the calamities and tribulations. Together with his own development needs, it was necessary to restore the flow of time. In fact, Fang Yuan even planned to use time path methods to increase the flow of time. But I need to wait for a while. The time path methods in Hei Fan's True Inheritance need to wait for a while before I can use other killer moves to affect the tributary of the River of Time. With this rate of time flow, the illumination fungus will be able to reproduce rapidly. Attitude GU and Wisdom Sword GU should be placed outside the immortal aperture for now. Fang Yuan calculated, this way, he would be able to satisfy the minimum requirement to feed Attitude GU and Wisdom Sword GU. It was time to feed Attitude GU and Wisdom Sword GU as well. But rank 8 Immortal GU were too difficult to feed. This problem had been weighing on Fang Yuan's mind. As time passed, the pressure became greater. Chapter 1470. Celestial Court, Soul Suppression Hall. Fairy Myrtle looked at the curled-up spectral soul's main body as she frowned. "Oh spectral soul, even now, you still do not recognize reality." Spectral soul did not reply, he was silent like a rock. Fairy Myrtle snickered as she activated this rank 8 immortal GU house. Immediately, the chains shined with purple lightning. Spectral soul's main body, who was bound by the chains, started to tremble. His memories were forcefully extracted. They turned into dazzling images that appeared in front of Fairy Myrtle. That was a scene from the past. Spectral Soul had not become a demon Venerable yet, he only had rank 7 GU immortal cultivation level. Luo Po Valley. Spectral Soul fell into Luo Po Valley, directly crashing onto the ground. Goo! He opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was pale as paper, his situation was bad, he was on the verge of death. A figure slowly descended from the sky. "Yu Hun, you can't escape. You will definitely die today." The person emitted rank 8 aura, he had a cold expression and was much stronger than Spectral Soul. Spectral Soul sat up with difficulty, looking at the sky. "I don't understand. This is the first time we have met, we have no grudges, why are you willing to pay such a huge price to kill me?" The person shouted, "Because you will bring bloodshed to the world. You will slaughter all living beings and harm all living beings." Spectral Soul snickered, "You have killed many more people than me, don't you think your words are laughable?" The rank 8 enemy shook his head, "It is not the same. Your problem is much more serious than mine." Spectral Soul was silent for a while before saying, "Is it because I want to create Soul Path?" The rank 8 GU Immortal showed a surprised expression, but he quickly recovered, saying solemnly, "That's right. Soul Path should not have been created. In the current world, Fate GU is destroyed. If Soul Path is created, the world will change, the dead will not be able to rest in peace, ghosts and monsters will roam the world." He, ha ha ha. Spectral Soul laughed heartily, "Very good, then I will definitely create my own Soul Path. In the future, countless people will choose to cultivate Soul Path. Let this world change." He laughed and stood up abruptly. His condition had mostly recovered. "With me here, you will only be delusional." The newcomer sneered and swooped down. Spectral Soul raised his hands as a formation appeared, trapping the rank 8 GU Immortal inside. But the enemy reacted immediately, dismantling the GU formation like a hot knife through butter. "You think I can't detect this GU formation's ambush? I purposely talked to you, I have already unraveled this GU formation." The rank 8 GU Immortal charged forward, about to reach Spectral Soul. But Spectral Soul was very confident, he stood on the ground without moving, looking at the rank 8 GU immortal charging towards him. He snickered. The GU formation you dismantled is only the surface. Don't you think this valley is very special? The moment he said that, the GU formation burst out with its true power. The rank 8 GU immortal was like a tiger trapped in a pond. His charge came to an abrupt halt. This is Luo Po Valley? The rank 8 GU immortal was shocked. That's right, this secluded domain of heaven and earth is a sacred land for cultivating soul path. He, it is also your burial ground. Spectral soul proclaimed like a victor. Ah! The rank 8 GU immortal screamed. Spectral soul's immortal formation used the power of Luo Po Valley. It was a rank 9 immortal formation. The rank 8 GU immortal resisted for a while, but he could not hold on any longer and died regretfully. Spectral soul looked at the corpse of his rank 8 enemy. His hair was disheveled and his 7 orifices were bleeding. Killing intent surged as he laughed coldly. From PH, Celestial Quartz GU immortal, interesting. I, Spectral soul, swear that I will create soul path in the future, and let more people cultivate it. Even if I fail and die, soul path GU immortal experts will emerge endlessly. Ha 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 ha. The painting stopped at this point. Fairy Myrtle's expression was dark. She looked at Spectral Soul's main body, who was imprisoned, for a while before turning around and leaving. Even though she extracted Spectral Soul's memories this time, it was useless. In fact, it could be seen as Spectral Soul's response to Fairy Myrtle's earlier words. If it was the latter, it meant that Spectral Soul had a method to resist Celestial Quartz soul search. Even though he could not resist Soul Suppression Hall's power, he could choose to hand over his memories. This way, it will take a long time to find anything valuable. Fairy Myrtle sighed deeply in her heart. Lang Ya blessed land, Luo Po Valley. Fang Yuan sat cross-legged in the depths of the valley. With a thought, he activated the Luo Po formation. This formation originated from Spectral Soul's true inheritance. It was created by Spectral Soul Demon Venerable himself. The basic GU worms were a vast number of White Lotus Giant Silkworm GU. White Lotus Giant Silkworm GU was the ingredient of Cleanse Soul Immortal GU. It was also created by Spectral Soul Demon Venerable. After Fang Yuan obtained the GU recipe, he ordered Lang Ya sect to refine a large number of White Lotus Giant Silkworm GU for him. Now, he had Cleanse Soul Immortal GU, but White Lotus Giant Silkworm GU not only satisfied the requirements of Cleanse Soul, it was also the foundation of many Soul Path GU formations in Spectral Soul's true inheritance. At this moment, the Luo Po formation activated. The irregular Luo Po wind and bewildering fog started to move along with the GU formation's activation. Fang Yuan's soul left his body and went through the test of the wind and fog. Before this, he had expended a large number of Guts GU, causing his soul to become swollen. After a while, the Luo Po formation stopped activating. Fang Yuan's soul had become thin and lean. He returned to the sovereign immortal body with deep fatigue. With the Luo Po formation, my cultivation efficiency in Luo Po Valley has increased by at least 30%. Fang Yuan evaluated in his heart. This was the first time he was using this formation. The Luo Po formation was a GU formation used to cultivate soul path, but other GU formations could be added in. The Luo Po formation had an extremely high tolerance. This was one of its greatest advantages. For example, when Qin Bai Sheng and the rest resisted the investigation team of Central Continent's 10 great ancient sects, the GU formation they used in battle was the Luo Po formation. However, their Luo Po formation did not focus on cultivation, it focused on defense. According to the records in Spectral Soul's true inheritance, Spectral Soul Demon Venerable had once used rank 7 cultivation level to kill an invading rank 8 Celestial Court GU immortal. Back then, he had also used the Luo Po formation, but he had added other GU formations with extremely high offensive power. The Luo Po formation that Fang Yuan was using now focused on soul path cultivation. It used rank 6 immortal GU Cleanse Soul as the core, a vast number of White Lotus Giant Silkworm GU as the foundation, and other GU worms to create it. Good. After this session of cultivation, my soul foundation has reached the level of 1,000,000-man soul. In Spectral Soul's true inheritance, The soul foundation was divided into many levels. From low to high, they were 1-man soul, 10-man soul, 100-man soul, million-man soul, 10 million man soul, 100 million man soul. 10-man soul meant that the soul foundation was equivalent to the total of 10 adults. Ordinary GU masters could reach 1000-man soul after 20 years of soul path cultivation. But by using Guts GU, Fang Yuan could achieve it instantly. Before this cultivation session, Fang Yuan's soul foundation had almost reached 3 million man soul. But after the tempering of Luo Po wind and bewilderment fog, his soul foundation stabilized at 1 million man soul level. First, he used Guts GU to strengthen his soul, then he cultivated in Luo Po Valley, tempering his soul like steel, removing the impurities. Next, he went to sleep and calmed his soul, getting rid of all impatience. These 3 steps repeated over and over again, causing Fang Yuan's soul foundation to soar like a rocket. How long had it been, but he had already reached million-man soul level. The speed of his improvement was truly terrifying. When he reached 100 million man soul level, his soul would turn solid, turning from an ethereal body into a solid body. Thinking of the battle of heaven-stirring mountain, when Spectral Soul's main body was majestic, Fang Yuan was extremely moved. There was another benefit of strengthening his soul foundation, that was Immortal Killer Move Ghost Official Garment. This move could hide from the deductions of Providence and other GU immortals. The stronger the soul foundation, the stronger it would be. At this moment, Fang Yuan could clearly feel that Ghost Official Garment on his soul had become thicker, giving him an indescribable sense of security. If my soul foundation continues to grow, I will be able to control even more year beasts. I might even be able to control a second immemorial year beast. However, while I can focus on the soul foundation, those soul path killer moves are not worth it. The reason was none other than Spectral Soul's main body had already been captured by the Celestial Court. He could not escape from soul searching. That was to say, in time, the Celestial Court would also obtain Spectral Soul's true inheritance. At that time, it would be easy to break the killer moves in Spectral Soul's true inheritance. After this cultivation session ended, Fang Yuan left Luo Po Valley. Danghun Mountain and Luo Po Valley were the 2 sacred lands of soul cultivation. They were placed in Lang Ya Blessed Land by Fang Yuan. Firstly, it was for convenience, and secondly, these 2 secluded domains of heaven and earth expended a lot of heaven and earth chi in the immortal aperture. Fang Yuan's immortal aperture already had reverse flow river, adding these 2 would be too much of a burden. The moment he walked out of Luo Po Valley, Fang Yuan saw a snowman girl. Chapter 1471. The sovereign immortal aperture was still filled with tranquility and tranquility. Because there were no obvious changes in the weather, there was no day or night, so tranquility was the main theme here. Fang Yuan had rank 7 cultivation level. The sovereign immortal aperture was only a level 1 blessed land. Blessed lands usually did not have any weather changes. Only when one reached the edge of advancing to a grotto heaven or formed a grotto heaven would the immortal aperture have weather changes. There were no weather changes, but the sovereign immortal aperture was not dead, it was alive and full of vitality. Kokitahara was cold, especially at the northern end. It was still snowy and empty. The annexed Handong Blessed Land was now a resource point for raising spirit snakes, managed by the Pink Spirit Snakeland Spirit. Besides that, there was also the Bone Burial Ground, which stored a large number of bone immortal materials. And at the southern end, Fang Yuan was planning to build a blood-red grassland, using bloodsickle grass and red axe flowers as the foundation to house the pink flower rabbits, fox groups, wolf groups, and others. In Mini Central Continent, there was the Bloodji Forest and Mirror Willow Forest. They were unintentionally accumulated by Fang Yuan. He did not nurture them on purpose, they were not large in scale. There was also a Jade Light Pit, which contained some light path mortal GU. In Mini Western Desert, there were Eerie Fire Dragon Python Pit, Sand Gull Soil Beach, Rotten Black Swamp, Rotten Mud Swamp, and Black Dog Hill, the former Liu Yong Blessed Land that had the land spirit Black Curly Hair Dog. There was also a new mortal GU house. It was the mortal GU house Fang Yuan obtained from Western Desert's Translocation Desert, Corpse City. Most of the immortal materials inside were sold to Thousand Transformations Ancestors' Will. There were very few left. Mini Eastern Sea was no longer shallow, it had a trace of an ocean's aura. Especially the two sea areas, Dragon Scale Sea Area and Wu Yi Sea Area. The former was a large resource point that Fang Yuan spent a lot of money and effort to build in southern border. The latter was Wu Yi Hai's blessed land, managed by the sea turtle land spirit for Fang Yuan. There were 3 ancient desolate beast horned divine tortoises, an ancient desolate plant silent coral, and 6 desolate beast white letter blue feather seagulls. Other than the 2 sea areas, there was also a blood lake. It was not big, it was created by Fang Yuan to repair blood asset immortal Gu, it had been preserved ever since. The lake water of the blood lake was mixed with the blood of desolate beasts and Gu immortals. Beneath the blood lake were many shallow seas. They had all been meticulously arranged by Fang Yuan and separated. There were air bubble fish, literature carp, black carp, blood jade carp, and so on. There was even an ancient desolate beast, the hidden room mussel, which Fang Yuan had seized from the East Sea. The Reverse Flow River, one of the mystery lands of heaven and earth, was temporarily left here by Fang Yuan. The lesser southern border was the region with the highest level of development. There were 5 Brilliance Mountain, Immortal Succession Mountain, Dragon Formation Hill, Heaven Sealing Mountain, and more than 10 nameless mountains. There were also the Coiling Thread Cavern and the Stalactite Cavern. A small number of stone men lived in the mountain forests and underground. In the vast primitive forests, there were musical trees, tea streams, chi deathbirds, and so on, forming a strict and self-consistent ecosystem that was full of vitality. And in the lesser 9 heavens, lesser red heaven had a large number of year beasts, as well as that immemorial year monkey. In lesser orange heaven, Fang Yuan had been taking care of it recently. With the light shine fungi, the aurora light was expanding, and the number of flowing light fruits growing in the aurora light was increasing. Lesser yellow heaven was very vast, there was only a small segment of the gold fragment river. Lesser green heaven was empty, but Fang Yuan had once placed dream realms in it. Lesser azure heaven had pill azure incense, this was the food of change soul immortal Gu, Fang Yuan had stored a batch here a long time ago. There was also a heavenly crystal storage pool at the center of lesser azure heaven, but it was useless. Lesser blue heaven was the most developed of the 9 heavens. There was a large amount of cloud soil inside, many star path resources were planted on it, like arrow bamboo forest, star fragment grass field, meteorite pits, and a floating star fragment continent. This was Yi Lui Kun Xing's blessed land, it was annexed by Fang Yuan and managed by the star core land spirit. Oh, there was also an infant falling star hound, it was eating, drinking, and sleeping here. It was alone and very lonely, but if it was placed elsewhere, it would clash with other desolate beasts and ancient desolate beasts. After Fang Yuan took it in, he did not take care of it much. In lesser purple heaven, there were eagle beasts in groups. There were desolate beasts and ancient desolate beasts among these eagles. During the Dream Realm battle, Fang Yuan did not hesitate to sell immortal Gu to forcefully purchase them. They had once helped Fang Yuan by enslaving the upper extreme heavenly eagle, they helped Fang Yuan get through the life and death crisis, they could not be hidden. Fang Yuan had once wanted to sell them, but he would not receive any immortal Gu if he sold them, it would be equivalent to selling them at a loss. Coincidentally, he had seized over 80 eagle nests from He tribe's headquarters. Even though they were not as high quality as the heavenly crystal eagle nest, they were suitable for these eagle beasts to live in. In the remaining 2 days, lesser white heaven had an eagle hound group, 3 remnant ancient heavenly dogs, and a large-scale multicolored overlord flower plantation. In lesser black heaven, because there was no light and the environment was special, there were only a few ancient desolate plant walking meat trees. Estimating the value of these assets, Fang Yuan could already compare with some rank 8 Gu immortals. But compared to the entire immortal aperture, these resources were still very little. Why? Because the sovereign immortal aperture was too huge. It was over 500 million km2 of space, but these resources only occupied a small portion of the immortal aperture. Looking at the entire sovereign immortal aperture, if the entire immortal aperture's space was used, it would be 100. Then Fang Yuan's current development was only around 3 points. 3% development. This was not a bad thing, it was a very good thing. The sovereign immortal aperture had unparalleled development prospects, but on the other hand, Fang Yuan was not sure when it would reach 100% development. This was definitely a very difficult and time-consuming super project. Since ancient times, GU Immortals had already come up with a set of standards to evaluate the development of an immortal aperture. It was divided into 7 levels. The first level was to create mortal-level resources. Produce mortal GU materials, and ordinary beasts and plants. These resources were often based on scale. Mortals raised mortal GU, they usually only had 5 or 6. GU Immortals raised millions or even tens of millions of mortal GU. As for the year GU that Fang Yuan had sold earlier, the number had already exceeded 100 million. The second level was to create immortal-level resources and produce immortal materials. The standard of success at this level was to allow the GU Immortal to feed their own immortal GU and not let them starve to death. The third level was to create an ecosystem and raise immortal beasts and plants. The fourth level was to use excess immortal materials, immortal beasts, and plants to trade or earn profits. From this standard, Fang Yuan was at the fourth level. Because he had many businesses that were doing well and earning huge profits. In fact, in the previous year GU business, Fang Yuan used his strength to dominate the entire Jewel Yellow Skies market. Those 3 failed giants were still in a corner. But from another perspective, I am still at the second layer, because the feeding of my immortal GU has not reached the level of self-sufficiency. Fang Yuan had always been aware of this. There was no helping it, Fang Yuan had too many immortal GU. There were 3 rank 8 GU worms, Attitude, Wisdom Sword, and Years Flow Like Water. Rank 7 were Sword Eyebrows, Wave Sword, Flying Sword, Sword Escape, Year GU, After, Divination Tortoiseshell, Dragon Breath, Dragon Scale, Defense, Big, Fight, Affection, Self-Love, Perseverance, Famous Rain, Change Soul, Bloodline, Dragon Strength, Formation Flag, and others. The 6 transformations were Self-Strength, Pulling Mountain, Pulling Water, Strength, Spring and Autumn Cicada, Landscape as Before, Man as Before, Sun, Mystery Unravel, Vajra Thought, Fate, Chi Fate, Woman's Heart, Blood Capital, Transformation, Star Eyes, Perceivable Tao, Yellow Sand, Soul Cleansing, Luck Inspection, Connect Luck, Time Luck, Star Thought, etc. Among them, the last 4 were once in the hands of Fang Yuan. After the Battle of Yi Tian Mountain, they were taken away by Ying Wuxie because of the soul swap. Fang Yuan had used special will to destroy a batch of them, but Ying Wuxie had acted in time to save a batch. Among these, there were also some Wisdom Path Immortal GU that Zishan Makoto had left behind, and some Time Path Immortal GU that were used to construct Graceful Chaotic Dual Stage. Counting the number, it was already more than 50. What a shocking number. After all, most GU Immortals were desperately seeking Immortal GU. In the GU Immortal world, rank 6 GU Immortals were the most numerous, but most of them did not have a single Immortal GU. Rank 7 and rank 8 GU Immortals usually had 2 or 3 Immortal GU, and some even had 5 or 6. But there was a pattern. Rank 6 GU Immortals desperately sought rank 6 Immortal GU, rank 7 GU Immortals desperately sought rank 7 Immortal GU, rank 8 GU Immortals desperately sought rank 8 Immortal GU, and rank 9 Venerables similarly sought rank 9 Immortal GU. What about Fang Yuan? Over 100 Immortal GU. There were rank 6, 7, and 8 Immortal GU. And this did not include the Calamity Beckoning GU that was lent to Chu Du, the Wisdom GU that was placed in Lang Ya Blessed Land, and the Dark Limit Immortal GU that was taken away by the Celestial Court. There was also the Formation Spirit. After all, it was formed from an Immortal GU. Fang Yuan's situation was too special. An otherworldly demon, a person who had been reborn, the hope of Red Lotus Demon Venerable, the former pawn of Providence, the current leader of Shadow Sect, and the inheritor of countless true inheritances. Even though there were many obstacles and dangers along the way, and he was in desperate situations from time to time, it had to be said that the huge risks brought huge rewards. Fang Yuan was currently abnormally prosperous. Because of all the fortuitous encounters, he had the financial support of the fourth layer, but he still could not reach the standard of the second layer. Feeding immortal GU had always been a huge burden and problem for him. But thankfully, after working hard for so long, I finally see hope of solving this problem. The rank 9 wisdom GU has the land spirit of Langya as a spendthrift. The most difficult feeding of the 3 rank 8 immortal GU has already been solved. Next, I need to build up my foundation. I need to solve the feeding problem of rank 6 and 7 immortal GU, and become self-sufficient. Looking at it this way, the immortal Yuan stone that Fang Yuan had was not enough. Marriage with the snowmen? Fang Yuan pondered. When Shui brought the snow lotus essence, she also brought the intention of marriage with the snowman tribe. These mutants were very straightforward and direct. If I work hard to solve the feeding problem, it will take a long time. But with the help of the snowman tribe, the speed will be much faster. What I lack the most now is time. Marriage with the snowmen is not impossible. Chapter 1472. On Danghun Mountain, Guts GU were everywhere. Fang Yuan picked them up as he continued to strengthen his soul. His soul foundation began to skyrocket, and after a while, it directly rose from the original 1 million man-soul level to 5 million man-soul level. A feeling of swelling and about to explode filled Fang Yuan's mind. Fang Yuan knew he had reached his limit. He walked out of Danghun Mountain and went to Luopo Valley. After a period of cultivation, his soul had been tempered. It was like steel being continuously tempered in a furnace, becoming more and more exquisite. This time, his soul foundation stabilized at 1,500,000 man-soul. At million man-soul, every time I cultivate, it will increase by 500,000 man-soul. Adding on the time needed to rest the soul and the time needed to produce Guts GU, I will need at least half a year to reach 10 million man-soul. Fang Yuan estimated and frowned slightly. He still felt that this speed was too slow. 10 years. 10 years later, Celestial Court would finish repairing Fate Immortal GU. By then, Celestial Court would have the absolute advantage. Fang Yuan and the Shadow Sect would have no hope. He would need half a year to reach 10 million man-soul. After that, there would be 100 million man-soul. Above 100 million man-soul, there was an even higher level. Fang Yuan was not satisfied with this speed. If I can increase the production of Guts GU, this speed will increase rapidly. Right now, the thing that restricted his soul foundation from increasing was the production of Guts GU. Danghun Mountain was no doubt a treasure trove, but it needed a large number of high-quality souls to produce Guts GU. According to the agreement back then, a portion of these Guts GU belonged to Lang Ya sect. Land Spirit of Langya would sell them and earn profits. The other portion belonged to Fang Yuan. Right now, Fang Yuan was using this portion of Guts GU to cultivate his soul path. As a result, he suddenly lost a large part of his financial support. But thankfully, the year GU business had made a huge profit. Fang Yuan still had a lot of capital. Fang Yuan calculated, it was not wise to negotiate with the Land Spirit of Langya and change the share of Guts GU on both sides. Because Fang Yuan still needed to rely on Lang Ya sect, not only could he hide in Lang Ya blessed land, he also needed to rely on Lang Ya sect's GU refinement ability to help him refine GU. In the first batch of GU refinement plans, those 3 immortal GU were a huge help to Fang Yuan. Right now, it was the second batch of GU refinement plan. It was mainly a large number of mortal GU. White Lotus Giant Silkworm GU was one of them. The focus was on 2 immortal GU. One of them was called Heavenly Secret. It was created by Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable and obtained by Old Man Inkstone of Shadow Sect. He created an immortal killer move called Exposed Heavenly Secret. The effect of this move was extremely mysterious. It could predict the exact details of the next calamity. If Lang Ya sect could refine Heavenly Secret Immortal GU, it would mean that Fang Yuan could use Exposed Heavenly Secret. It would be of great help to his tribulation. But, setting up missions for Lang Ya sect to refine Immortal GU has been depleting my sect contribution points. I need to investigate this. Thus, after this soul path cultivation ended, Fang Yuan used Information Path Mortal GU to check on Lang Ya sect's missions. Undeniably, The current land spirit of Langya was far more suitable to manage Lang Ya sect than the previous one. Under his series of policies, the whole of Lang Ya sect dug out its potential. It was bursting with vitality. Right now, Lang Ya sect had many missions. Most of them were GU refinement missions set up by Fang Yuan. Below that, a large portion of the missions were about exploring Tai Chiu. Ever since Lang Ya sect built the teleportation immortal formation, they had been exploring Tai Chiu and excavating the vast amount of natural resources inside. This was Lang Ya sect's main goal now. But Tai Chiu was a dangerous place. Ordinary GU immortals did not want to set foot in it. Even though it was rich in resources, there were ferocious beasts and strange trees. And Lang Ya sect's GU immortals, even though they were skilled in GU refinement, they were lacking in terms of fighting. Even though they had been working hard to improve themselves recently, there weren't many true combat experts among them. Thus, when they encountered strong beasts or plants, these hairy man GU immortals would have a hard time. The exploration of Tai Chiu had not been smooth. Looking at these types of missions, thoughts flew in Fang Yuan's mind, colliding with each other. In a few breaths of time, he had chosen more than 10 missions with the highest value to performance ratio. At the next moment, he accepted all the missions that he had chosen. First Supreme Elder. Fang Yuan used Information Path Mortal GU to communicate with the land spirit of Langya. The land spirit of Langya immediately knew of Fang Yuan's actions. He was very happy. Fang Yuan, with you, these missions will be easy to resolve. But Fang Yuan shook his head. This is what I wanted to talk to you about. I plan to send my subordinates to complete these missions for me. I think this is not against Lang Ya sect's rules, right? The land spirit of Langya was slightly stunned. When he set up the sect rules, he did not think of this. But after thinking about it, this was not a loophole in the sect rules. Because the GU immortals who accepted the missions could ask for help, why not? The land spirit of Langya could only say to Fang Yuan, then you have to guarantee that your subordinates will not do anything to harm Lang Ya sect. Fang Yuan smiled, of course. After communicating with the land spirit of Langya, Fang Yuan started to send shadow sect members. Hey Lulan, Ying Wu Xie, Fairy Miao Yin, Lady White Rabbit, it would be a waste if these people were left idle. This time, they were put to good use. Eventually, even Bai Ningbing joined in. Because from her perspective, the biggest reason why she allied with Fang Yuan was because she wanted to regain her male body, thus she wanted to refine the immortal level yin-yang rotation GU. But when she found out that Fang Yuan had to rely on Lang Ya sect to refine GU, she turned her attention to Lang Ya sect. Regrettably, Lang Ya sect did not trust Bai Ningbing, a stranger. Fang Yuan also obstructed the two sides from colluding, causing Bai Ningbing to have to rely on Fang Yuan. As Fang Yuan's ally, Fang Yuan did not have the authority to order her, but why would Fang Yuan waste her precious battle strength? After special communication with Fang Yuan, Bai Ningbing trusted Fang Yuan. As long as she killed more fierce beasts and plants, the sect contribution points she would get from completing the mission for Fang Yuan would be accumulated by Fang Yuan and used to set up the sect mission to refine the immortal GU yin-yang rotation GU. Several days later. Sovereign Immortal Aperture, Kokitahara. Large patches of round snowflakes were fluttering in the air. These special snowflakes were pure white and crystalline. They were the size of an adult's palm. This was a rank 6 immortal material dancing snow. It was condensed from heaven and earth. As long as the temperature was maintained to a certain degree, it would not melt. Moreover, it would float forever. Even if it fell to the ground, it would fly up into the air. Fang Yuan inspected it one last time. He did not find anything wrong, he thought. These days, I have finally arranged the betrothal gifts for the Snowman tribe. This task can come to an end. Since the Snowman tribe wanted to form a marriage alliance with Fang Yuan, Shuai naturally would not come empty-handed. She brought a betrothal gift. The most important thing was the snow lotus essence. This was a unique immortal material of the Snowman tribe. It was extremely rare in jewel yellow skies. Fang Yuan obtained a lot of it. He stored them all in Kokitahara. Wu Yarrow Shuai had the second largest number of them. It was the food of a rank 6 wisdom path immortal GU. Fang Yuan obtained this batch. It was enough to feed it 4 to 5 times. The difficulty of feeding a rank 6 immortal GU was naturally very different from a rank 8 immortal GU. This was a small surprise. At least Fang Yuan did not need to go to Jewel Yellow Skies to buy dancing snow. Other than that, there were some other resources that were not worth mentioning. Fang Yuan either sold them or kept them. They were all dealt with cleanly. This is still too little. If I had more resources, I would be able to develop my immortal aperture faster. Since the Snowman tribe wants to form a marriage alliance with me, just these betrothal gifts are not enough. Fang Yuan sneered internally. He swallowed all the betrothal gifts in one gulp, but he ignored the snowman's request for a marriage alliance. After producing some guts GU, Fang Yuan started his soul path cultivation again. Day after day, he immersed himself in cultivation. His soul foundation began to rapidly rise at a speed visible to the naked eye. Other than soul path cultivation, he also used the light of wisdom to modify killer moves. He had a lot of killer moves that involved all paths in the world. He needed to modify the killer moves that could be used with his own immortal GU and mortal GU to activate them. This would greatly increase his methods and battle strength. Fang Yuan cultivated while Shadow Sect's members explored and fought in Taichou, while Sixth Hair and Land Spirit of Langya refined immortal GU for Fang Yuan. Everyone had their own matters. Shuai gradually became the most anxious person. This great beauty of the Snowman tribe came with an important mission for the Snowman tribe, but Fang Yuan took all of her gifts. He did not even meet her once. He left her here, not caring about her at all. Shuai asked to meet Fang Yuan many times, but she was only a rank 6 GU immortal, while Fang Yuan had rank 8 battle strength. There was a huge gap between them, and they were in Lang Ya Blessed Land. Fang Yuan rejected all of them. This way, Shuai was not able to meet him. She felt extremely depressed. The worry and anger on her face became heavier every day. On this day, the Snowman tribe sent a letter to urge her, but Shuai had hope. It turned out that the Snowman tribe saw that Shuai did not make any progress and could not meet Fang Yuan. They had a private discussion. They came to a consensus. Since Fang Yuan accepted the betrothal gifts, he had the intention of a marriage alliance. But why did he not meet Shuai? It was probably because the betrothal gifts were not enough to match his status. Thus, the Snowman tribe gathered another batch. This time, they sent it to Shuai along with the letter. What is this? I, Shuai, am a genius of the tribe. I have a great reputation. But this time, I want to form a marriage alliance with a human. I even need enough betrothal gifts. Not enough. I can't even meet him once. Shuai was depressed. She came to meet Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan finally met her. Chapter 1473. Fang Yuan stared at Shuai with a condescending gaze. Shuai was young and beautiful. She was tall and slender. She had blue eyes and hair. Her skin was like ice and bones were like jade. Her supple skin and full breasts would cause most men to stare fixedly at them. She was indeed the #1 beauty of the Snowman tribe. But Fang Yuan was unmoved by her beauty. Not only was he unmoved, he even said, "Is this the sincerity of your Snowman tribe?" Shuai could not understand Fang Yuan's meaning. She quickly said, "Lord Fang Yuan, please explain. You want to marry me with such meager gifts? Your tribe is too optimistic. To be able to get the help of a rank 8 so easily, this is like a pie falling from the sky." Fang Yuan smiled coldly. Shuai was stunned. Fang Yuan was so direct and honest, she could not accept it. After that, a strand of embarrassment and resentment surged into her heart. She was the outstanding talent of the Snowman tribe, the publicly recognized #1 beauty. She brought such a huge gift and took the initiative to marry him. It was no different from offering herself to him. She was acting submissive. But to think that Fang Yuan was so arrogant, he did not care about her at all. He was greedy and felt that the Snowman gift was too meager. It could not show the sincerity of the Snowman tribe. How was it meager? The gifts were truly precious. They were all carefully selected from the Snowman tribe's treasury and given to Fang Yuan. Originally, Shuai had a good impression of Fang Yuan. After all, Fang Yuan was extremely talented. He had rank 8 battle strength. It was an achievement that ordinary people could not achieve. But now, her impression of Fang Yuan had plummeted to the bottom. If it was the past, Shui would have left long ago. But now, she was not alone, she was shouldering the responsibility of the tribe's development. Shui breathed in deeply. She asked, Lord Fang Yuan, since you have already accepted 2 gifts, you should have high hopes for our marriage. If you are not satisfied with the gifts, you can ask for anything. I will bring the news back and let the elders in the clan discuss it. Fang Yuan had already prepared the list. He immediately took out an information path mortal GU and sent it to Shui. What's this? Snow's eyes widened in shock. Fang Yuan's appetite really shocked her. However, even though she was shocked, she was still very beautiful. Her eyes were wide open, causing her originally cold temperament to weaken greatly, revealing a lot of cuteness. It's not just this list, Fang Yuan added. Do you have any other requests? Snow's expression was ugly, and she was barely suppressing her anger. Who would have thought that Fang Yuan would be so calm? His skin was so thick that it surpassed the city walls. He said in a matter-of-fact tone, if you can fulfill my list, your sincerity is enough. But your sincerity is not enough. My sincerity? Fang Yuan raised his head slightly and smiled faintly. Not just any Tom, Dick, or Harry is qualified to be my wife. Even though the Snowman tribe recommended you, whether you are qualified or not, you will need to pass my test. Test? Shui gritted her teeth. Lord Fang Yuan, please tell me. Fang Yuan pondered. Go to Tai Chiu and search for souls for me. After you leave this place, someone will arrange things for you. Shui felt bitter internally. She was a genius. When had she ever received such cold treatment? But due to the heavy responsibility of the tribe, she could only nod and agree. Looking at Shui's departing figure, Fang Yuan fell into deep thought. With this arrangement, Shui's battle strength could be used. There would be another GU immortal who could help Fang Yuan in his cultivation. But this was not the main point. What Fang Yuan wanted to do was to probe them. After receiving the second gift, he expressed his dissatisfaction. He wanted to test Shui and show his arrogance. He was testing the Snowman tribe's bottom line. Since they wanted a marriage alliance, how determined were they? One could say, the greater their determination, the greater the benefits Fang Yuan could extract from them. Fang Yuan was not in a hurry. The marriage alliance could not be decided with just a few words. Both sides were not familiar with each other. If Fang Yuan probed them, the Snowman tribe would do the same. But Fang Yuan was sure that there were benefits to be gained from this. The marriage alliance was not the main point. Fang Yuan quickly put it aside. He focused on his heavy cultivation. Soul path cultivation was one aspect, immortal aperture management was another. Other than that, Fang Yuan used the light of wisdom to modify killer moves. Fang Yuan's strongest method was undoubtedly the immortal killer move reverse flow protection seal. But Fang Yuan was not in a hurry to modify it. Even though this killer move was not safe against Celestial Court GU immortals, Fang Yuan's current location was still safe. Not only was he far away in northern plains, he was also hiding in Lang Ya Blessed Land. With the concealment of the ghost soldier garment, Celestial Court would not be able to find him in a short period of time. And there was another point, to modify reverse flow protection seal, it would take a long time, the effects would be slow. Fang Yuan thought about it. He decided to modify the wisdom path killer moves that Zishan Makoto had. Why did he choose these? Firstly, these killer moves were very powerful and outstanding. Secondly, Fang Yuan's wisdom path attainment level was at Grandmaster, it was easy to modify them. Finally, Fang Yuan had a batch of wisdom path immortal GU, they were gifts from Zishan Makoto before he died. Purple Blood River Formation, Purple Thought Light Protection, Ignited Thought Flying Rock, One Thought Flower Bloom, Purple Thought Insight Starlight, Direction Confusion Fog, Thought Defense, One Thought 10,000 Flow Elimination, and so on. When Zishan Makoto was not in a good condition, he used these methods to resist Duke Long. Who was Duke Long? He was the great master of Red Lotus, he had a huge origin, he had incredible battle strength, he was at the peak of rank 8. While Fang Yuan modified his killer moves, Ying Wuxie found Shui. You are Shui? Ying Wuxie asked. Shui looked at Ying Wuxie, She had a petite figure, she was like a young girl. Her skin was white as snow, she wore a green dress, there were 2 jade beads hanging on her ears, as they swayed, they gave off a green light. Ying Wuxie was wearing Fairy Kui Bo's body, she was naturally beautiful. If not for this, Thousand Transformations' ancestor would not have taken in Fairy Kui Bo as his third concubine, he doted on her. Who is this beautiful female immortal? What is her relationship with Fang Yuan? The clan's information does not mention her, she is also a rank 7 GU immortal. Shui had many questions in her mind, but she showed a smile on the surface. I am Shui. I wonder what this beautiful sister's name is? Ying Wuxie frowned. He was originally wearing Fairy Kui Bo's body, he was very excited. But as time passed, as a man, he felt uncomfortable. Not long ago, he asked Fang Yuan to change this body, even if it was a rank 6 body, he only needed to cultivate soul path. Don't call me sister. Just call me brother Wuxie. Ying Wuxie waved his hand. Let's go, I will bring you to Tai Chiu to meet up with them. The test given to you by the sect master is to see who can obtain more high-quality souls in the same period of time. Yes. Shui quickly agreed, she had even more questions in her mind. She walked behind, looking at Ying Wuxie's back, thinking, this female immortal is so strange, she wants me to call her brother. The two left Lang Ya Blessed Land, using the GU formation to teleport to Tai Chiu. Once they entered Tai Chiu, Shui became nervous. This was a famous dangerous place in northern plains. At the same time, she was somewhat uneasy about this test. After all, she only had rank 6 cultivation level. What she was most proud of was her investigative methods. Fly together with me, quick, quick. Time is precious, we need to cherish every moment and use it to cultivate. Continuous hard work and struggle, that is the true meaning of life. Ying Wuxie urged Shui on, he was filled with fighting spirit. This was the effect of immortal killer move soaring fighting spirits. Shui felt that Ying Wuxie was very strange, she felt that she could not judge a book by its cover, she was so beautiful but had such a desperate personality, it was unimaginable. But if we fly like this, isn't it too rash? Shui was worried, this was Tai Chiu, there were many fierce beasts, danger was everywhere. If he were to fly around like that, he would undoubtedly become the most obvious target. Flying in the air, Shui was very nervous, she was afraid that a fierce beast would attack her. But after flying for a while, her worries did not come true. Moreover, the worry in her heart had dissipated a lot, and what replaced it was a secret shock. The area around the teleportation immortal formation has been cleared by Lang Ya sect, they have complete control over it. They actually explored Tai Chiu to such an extent. It seems that Lang Ya sect's strength is beyond our estimation. Shui immediately transmitted this information to the Snowman tribe. There is a group of dragon elephants over there. Suddenly, Shui spoke. Ying Wuxie, who was traveling with her, looked at her in surprise, thinking that this woman was quite unique. Even with Ying Wuxie's methods, he was a few breaths later than Shui to discover that group of dragon elephants. Shadow Sect's investigative methods were naturally stronger than Shui's, but Ying Wuxie's current body countered his investigative methods. This group of dragon elephants is something sect leader needs, let's go capture them first. Ying Wuxie changed his flying direction. Shui was not surprised, because she had seen Fang Yuan's list of gifts, there were indeed dragon elephants. This group of dragon elephants was quite ordinary, there were only 2 or 3 desolate level dragon elephants. Ying Wuxie descended from the sky and used a soul path immortal killer move. A soul howl enveloped the entire dragon elephant group. In an instant, the dragon elephants fell to the ground and fell unconscious. Such an amazing method. Shui was shocked, she had a new question. She clearly has wood path aura, why is she using a soul path method? Ying Wuxie was most proficient in lead soul into dream, but the GU worms used to construct these killer moves were all kept by Fang Yuan, they were in his hands. Ying Wuxie was left with several soul path immortal GU. Therefore, Ying Wuxie's main method was the soul Dao. Ying Wuxie kept these dragon elephants in his immortal aperture as he set off with Shui. A moment later, they saw He Lulan. Another great beauty. Shuai frowned, but her brows quickly smoothed out. She observed, compared to Wu Xie, this one only has rank 6 cultivation level, the same as me. Chapter 1474. Even though Shuai was a rising star of the Snowman tribe, a genius, it was a fact that the Snowman tribe was lacking in resources. Shuai was able to reach rank 6 at her age. This was already very good. But after interacting with Ying Wu Xie, her cultivation level was still lower than rank 7. Even though Shuai did not show it on the surface, she felt a lot of pressure in her heart. Now that she saw a rank 6 immortal, her emotions eased up a little. Hello, you can call me Shuai. Shuai greeted first. She felt that she should establish a good relationship with the people around Fang Yuan. Hello, you can call me Lu Lan. Hey Lu Lan smiled, her gaze flickered as she sized up Shuai discreetly. She was guessing, Snowman Gu immortal? Why is he approaching us? Fang Yuan, what is he trying to do? The Snowman tribe wanted to have a marriage alliance with Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan only informed Ying Wu Xie, he did not tell the other members. Thus, He Lulan only knew, Fang Yuan wanted the Shadow Sect immortals to accept Shuai, and in the future, they would help each other and explore Tai Chiu. Alright, since you know each other, we will leave first. Ying Wu Xie said at this moment. She took out an information path Gu worm and used a small method to find Fairy Miao Yin and Lady White Rabbit's location. Hey Lulan, do what you need to do. I will bring Shuai to meet the others. Seeing Ying Wu Xie and Shuai leave, He Lulan had a thought. Her intuition told her that Shuai had joined out of nowhere. Her motive was not simple. He Lulan had a ruthless nature. Even though she was forced to leave the alliance agreement and lose her freedom, the truth was, she wanted to escape Fang Yuan's control all the time. Freedom, who would not want it? Wait, I will go with you. I am in charge of finding the sharp tusk boar, but I cannot find it. I might as well let Miao Yin help me, He Lulan said as she chased after them. Cher was very happy. She felt that she would be able to get closer to He Lulan. He Lulan also wanted to get information out of her, so she pretended to be polite and cordial. And so, Ying Wu Xie took the lead to comprehend, while Shuai and He Lulan walked behind him. Big sister Lu Lan, it's really nice to meet you. Soon, Snow started addressing Lu Lan as big sister, her attitude very humble. This stupid woman. He Lulan snorted in her heart. She was once the victor of the imperial court, shouldering a blood feud and living under the shadow of her father He Cheng. She was good at scheming. Compared to her, Shuai had grown up among the snowmen, and her personality was much purer. He Lulan soon realized that Shuai desperately wanted to know more about the Shadow Sect's immortals. She made use of Shuai's mentality and said some valuable information, using the chance to get information out of her. Shuai was wary of her of course, but she could not match He Lulan's scheming. Just as she was about to be exposed, Ying Wu Xie interrupted, "Isn't that the sharp tusk boar? He Lulan, you are quite lucky, you don't need to owe Miao Yin a favor this time." Following Ying Wu Xie's finger, Shuai saw an ancient desolate beast indeed. This sharp tusk boar was huge and muscular, it was sleeping on the ground, it had an extraordinary aura. Shuai's heart jumped, with her battle strength, she was not the sharp tusk boar's match. Ying Wu Xie was interrupted, he was angry but he could not retort, he snorted coldly and charged at the sharp tusk boar. Big sister Lu Lan, be careful. Shuai said with concern, she praised in her heart, this big sister Lu Lan that she had just met was really courageous. But she only had rank 6 cultivation level, how could she deal with the sharp tusk boar? It seemed that she needed to rely on this fairy Kui Bo. But the following scene made Shuai completely dumbfounded. He Lulan's aura was even fiercer than the sharp tusk boar's. When she fought, her aura changed completely, flames burned around her, she had a terrifying aura that could burn heaven and earth. Rank 6 immortal Gu, rank 7 immortal Gu, so many immortal Gu. Shuai's eyelids twitched as she watched the battle, she realized how wealthy He Lulan was. He Lulan had inherited blazing heaven demoness inheritance and immortal Gu. Fang Yuan did not take them from her, because Fang Yuan had enough immortal Gu, he might as well leave them with He Lulan and let her search for souls for him. Under He Lolan's fierce attacks, the sharp tusk boar was first enraged, then it went into a frenzy, it finally lost and escaped in fear. Shuai was shocked. He Lolan's battle strength was already at rank 7, this was out of Shuai's expectations. Big sister Lu Lan is so strong. Her immortal killer moves are extremely powerful, they are extremely powerful. However, she clearly has strength path aura, why is she using fire path methods? She was shocked but also confused. Shuai could not understand. Fairy Kui Bo had water path aura, but she used soul path methods. And now, this He Lulan was clearly a strength path GU immortal, but she used fire path. Alright, let's continue. A moment later, He Lulan stored the sharp tusk boar's corpse, she would not let go of the ancient desolate soul either. Big sister Lu Lan, you are amazing. Shuai looked at He Lulan with shock. He Lulan shook her head, this is nothing. No, you are really amazing. You have rank 6 cultivation level, but your battle strength has reached rank 7. This is not something ordinary GU immortals can achieve. Shuai quickly waved her hand. He Lulan smiled bitterly, this is really nothing, in our shadow sect, I am very ordinary. Shuai heard He Lolan's reply and her heart shook. He Lulan, you will understand when you see them. Let's go. He Lulan had already completed her mission, but she did not return, she decided to go with Shuai to find the other shadow sect GU immortals. After a while, they successfully met up with Fairy Miao Yin and Lady White Rabbit. Lady White Rabbit had rank 6 cultivation level, she did not have He Lolan's battle strength, it was too dangerous for her to explore Taichou alone. Thus, Fang Yuan arranged for Fairy Miao Yin to team up with her. Of course, when Black Tigress appears, her cultivation level and battle strength would rise to rank 7. However, White Rabbit's Black Tigress state was not stable, it could not last for long, it had its drawbacks. Hello, Shuai. Fairy Miao Yin smiled warmly. You are a snowman GU immortal? This is the first time. I have seen you. Lady White Rabbit said softly. What is going on? Shuai was bewildered and depressed. Fairy Miao Yin was a publicly recognized beauty in Southern Border's GU immortal world. She had a curvaceous body, she was extremely charming, she wore a pink dress, she was extremely beautiful. As for Lady White Rabbit, she had snow-white skin, her eyes were large and pure, she had no flaws or impurities. Her aura was different from Fairy Miao Yin's, even Shuai felt that she was cute at first glance, she had a feeling of trusting and cherishing her. Shuai inspected carefully. She found that Fairy Miao Yin had rank 7 cultivation level, while Lady White Rabbit was rank 6, similar to her. But after experiencing He Lolan's matter, Shuai did not dare to treat Lady White Rabbit as an ordinary rank 6 GU immortal anymore. The GU immortals conversed for a while, they were all very passionate towards Shuai, but they were also curious about her. Shuai kept her mouth shut. It was not that she suddenly became scheming, but there were so many people, and they were all beauties, Shuai felt immense pressure. What was she doing here? She was going to marry Fang Yuan. Now, she was going to say that she wanted to become Fang Yuan's wife in front of so many beauties. Wasn't this a little provocative? Wasn't this shamelessly boasting? At the same time, a question was pressing down on Shuai's mind like a mountain. What is the relationship between these female immortals and Fang Yuan? Actually, Fang Yuan's relationship with them was very simple and pure. But Shuai was an outsider, this was her first time interacting with them, she could not help but think wrongly. This was not strange. This was human nature. Alright, you have already gotten to know all of the GU immortals of Shadow Sect. Other than us, there is one more person who is special. Ying Wuxie said. Special? Shuai's heart tightened. She wanted to ask, does it mean that this GU immortal has a special relationship with Fang Yuan? Is it a man or a woman? But Shuai did not ask directly, because Ying Wuxie continued to speak. This person is by Ning Bing, she is not a member of Shadow Sect, but we are close, she is our ally. She has fought alongside us before, even though she only has rank 6 cultivation level, among us, she should be the one with the strongest battle strength. When he said the last sentence, Ying Wuxie hesitated for a moment. But the other GU immortals did not object. He Lulan's battle strength was weaker than Bai Ningbing. After all, the great strength true martial physique was not compatible with a fire path inheritance. Fairy Miao Yin's battle strength was about the same as He Lulan. There was no need to talk about Lady White Rabbit. After turning into Black Tigress, she was ruthless but lacked methods. Originally, Ying Wuxie had the highest battle strength, but his killer move Lead Soul into Dream had already been taken away by Fang Yuan along with his immortal GU. Thus, Bai Ningbing, who inherited Bai Xiong's true inheritance and had the Northern Dark Ice Soul physique, was the strongest among them. Stronger than Sister Lulan? Shuer could not believe it. He Lulan said, "My battle strength is only average here." Shuer stared with wide eyes, thinking, "Oh my heavens, why are there so many freaks here? She has rank 6 cultivation level but has the strongest battle strength. Who exactly was this person? Just how talented are they? We will lead you there now. I told you so much in advance so that you can pay attention. After all, her relationship with us is different." Ying Wuxie continued to lead the way. Soon, they got close to Bai Ningbing. Boom boom boom. The deities heard a loud explosion that sounded like a clap of thunder. Roar. Next, the immortals heard an earth-shattering scream. It was like the sound of a dying beast. This is... When the immortals arrived, Shuer was shocked to see that Bai Ningbing was standing alone in the battlefield. Around her was a circle of ancient desolate beasts. "You came at the right time, I found a good place." Bai Ningbing stopped Bai Xiong's killer move and arrived in front of the immortals. Shuer's body shook intensely. So beautiful. Bai Ningbing's beauty and aura could shake one's soul. Even Shuer, a proud daughter of the heavens, was stunned by her beauty. She couldn't help but think to herself, there's actually such a beauty in this world. If she knew that Bai Ningbing had turned from male to female, who knew how she would feel? Chapter 1475. Genius in 1 second. Remember Love Go? SpeakNet, providing you with exciting novels to read. Lang Ya Blessed Land, Cloud Cover Continent. Fang Yuan was alone in the vast area of cloud soil. Breathing in deeply, he calmed his mind and started to activate his immortal killer move. Ignited Thought Flying Rock. Fang Yuan thought to himself. His eyes immediately began to flicker with a glassy purple light. Then, thoughts began to surge in his mind, and pebbles suddenly appeared on the surface of his body. These small rocks seemed to have been burned red, but they did not have any heat. Go! Fang Yuan willed, the floating rocks on his body flew out. The rocks flew in the air, piercing through the air, but there was no sound. At the same time, the small rocks expanded rapidly, becoming bigger and bigger. At first, they were the size of a finger, but in the blink of an eye, they became the size of a basin. Next, they expanded to the size of a horse carriage. The small rocks turned into giant rocks, and at the same time, the surface of the rocks started to burn with red flames. There were thousands of giant rocks, and at once, half of the sky was dyed red. Next, the giant rocks smashed on the surface of the cloud soil, creating a huge flame, but there was no heat. There was not even a sound of explosion. These were not true giant rocks, they looked like that on the surface, but were actually formed from thoughts. This was one of Zishan Makoto's main attacks, Ignited Thought Flying Rock. It could burn the target's thoughts. It also had a combo move called One Thought Flower Bloom. After the fiery boulder exploded once, Fang Yuan stretched out his right index finger and lightly pointed. Immediately, the fire demons were extinguished, and from the craters that were created by the impact, hundreds of flowers bloomed. Countless bright flowers rose up, competing with each other in beauty. Flowers bloomed brilliantly, instantly transforming the surrounding 100 acres of land into a vast field of colorful flowers. It is a pity that the target is not a GU immortal, it is just cloud soil without thoughts. These flowers are only beautiful, they have no effect. Fang Yuan willed, and in an instant, the flowers that filled his vision vanished. Fang Yuan's body shook slightly. Immortal killer move One Thought Myriad Split. Instantly, the illusions around him were reborn. At first, there were only a few dozen purple light phantoms. But after a few breaths, the number of purple light phantoms had increased to a terrifying scale of nearly 100,000. Meanwhile, Fang Yuan's true body was hidden inside. Without a powerful investigative killer move, it was impossible to discover him. This move was actually very similar to one of Fang Yuan's previous tactics. Fang Yuan would first use Myriad Self, then use Familiar Face to transform into one of the Strength Path Phantoms, hiding his true body so that no one would be able to identify him. The advantage of Zishan Makoto's move was that it was just a simple move, but its effect was comparable to Fang Yuan's two moves, Myriad Self and Familiar Face. Therefore, the consumption of immortal essence was slightly less. There was another advantage: the number of purple light phantoms grew faster than the strength path phantoms. However, the weakness of these purple phantoms was that they had no offensive power. They were purely camouflaged to confuse the enemy. As for the strength path phantoms, they had offensive capabilities. Fang Yuan dispelled one thought myriad splits and pushed with his palms, pushing out a large amount of clouds and mist. This was the immortal killer move Directional Confusion Fog. It could make GU immortals lose their sense of direction. Next, Fang Yuan tried to activate Hidden Force Thought Defense, One Thought Myriad Flow Elimination, and other moves. He was very familiar with them and succeeded in activating them. He placed his focus on the last move. Immortal Killer Move, Purple Thought Perception Starlight. This move was the most complicated to activate, but its effect was quite mystical and powerful. It could gather the profundities of the enemy's immortal killer move with each attack, and send the information back to Fang Yuan's mind. Once the information was gathered to a certain extent, Fang Yuan could use wisdom path methods to research the killer move to deal with the enemy during battle. Then, the immortal killer move split would be activated to break the enemy's method and obtain victory. Fang Yuan tried to activate it. Purple Thought Perception Starlight was indeed complicated. Fang Yuan tried it 3 times before finally succeeding. During the process, he suffered some injuries. With man as before immortal GU, Fang Yuan was not afraid of these minor injuries. After these days of continuous practice, I have almost grasped all of Zishan Makoto's methods. Fang Yuan evaluated in his mind. Right now, it had already been half a month since Shue'er came to find him. These days, Fang Yuan mainly cultivated Soul Path and strengthened his soul foundation. Right now, he already had a 10 million level human soul. His immortal apertures management was going according to plan. Other than that, he practiced killer moves. Killer moves needed practice. Because every time a killer move was activated, there was a risk. If the activation failed, it would harm the user instead. Fang Yuan had countless inheritances. He had a vast number of killer moves. However, the foundation of killer moves were immortal GU. Fang Yuan first decided to practice Zishan Makoto's Wisdom Path killer move. Zishan Makoto was the purple of the first-generation split soul. His methods could match Duke Long's. He was naturally very impressive. Furthermore, before he died, he gave all of his remaining Wisdom Path immortal GU to Fang Yuan. Thus, Fang Yuan had the foundation to use Zishan Makoto's immortal killer move. Of course, Zishan Makoto's immortal GU were not comprehensive. There were many flaws. This was not important to Fang Yuan. He had Wisdom Path Grandmaster attainment level. The key was the light of wisdom. Fang Yuan could rapidly modify killer moves. Right now, most of the Wisdom Path killer moves he used had been modified to some extent. After this practice, Fang Yuan went to the Wisdom Gu's location again. He sat cross-legged beside Wisdom GU, bathed in the light of wisdom. He started to ponder and summarize his experience from this practice. After every practice, he would summarize and modify the killer move according to his own experience. Many killer moves were created based on the GU Immortal's own experience, habits, temperament, and many other factors. These killer moves were other people's killer moves. They were not as familiar and easy to use as Fang Yuan's own Myriad Self and Strength Path Giant Hand. Thus, Fang Yuan had to modify them continuously. After a while, Fang Yuan finished thinking. He did not modify Zishan Makoto's immortal killer move. These last days, I have been practicing and fine-tuning the killer move. I have finally reached a stage where I can no longer modify it. Only when I make huge progress in wisdom path in the future, can I continue to modify it. Understanding this, Fang Yuan did not force it. His deduction today was not on this, it was to complete the deduction of the immortal killer move, Strenuous Strength. Originally, Fang Yuan had an immortal GU, Strenuous Strength. It could expend immortal essence to activate immortal GU and increase his strength path Dao marks. It was a pity that such an immortal GU was destroyed. But it was not important, all paths led to the same goal. Fang Yuan had so many immortal GU, and with the light of wisdom's help, he could quickly deduce the immortal killer move Strenuous Strength. With this immortal killer move, it could completely replace the effect of Strenuous Strength immortal GU. Deduction success. About 15 minutes later, Fang Yuan left wisdom GU with a satisfied result. The deduction of the immortal killer move Strenuous Strength had started 6 days ago, but it had finally succeeded today. This rank 6 immortal killer move used Snack immortal GU as the core, with other strength path immortal GU as support. By expending strength path immortal materials, it could increase the GU immortal's strength path Dao marks. The effect of one cultivation session was much better than the rank 6 immortal GU, Strenuous Strength. But it expended a lot of immortal essence, because it involved too many GU worms. It was not as convenient as activating a single Strenuous Strength immortal GU. All in all, there were pros and cons. In the following days, other than consolidating Zishan Makoto's wisdom path killer moves, Fang Yuan used Strenuous Strength to increase his strength path Dao marks. He had the most transformation path Dao marks now, he had close to 50,000. Next were Ice and Snow path, Luck path, Chi path, and Sound path. He had more than 10,000. He had very little strength path. Fang Yuan had not undergone strength path tribulations. The immortal apertures that he annexed also did not cultivate strength path. This time, he focused on this aspect. The reason why he chose strength path was because Fang Yuan had considered it deeply. Right now, his strongest means were the reverse current protection seal and the myriad dragons. The former was for defense, while the latter was for offense. Both were related to strength path, thus, increasing strength path Dao marks would greatly increase the upper limit of Fang Yuan's battle strength. As for those Zishan Makoto's wisdom path killer moves that he cultivated, they were mainly used to enrich Fang Yuan's methods. The true deciding factor of Fang Yuan's battle strength was reverse flow protection seal. Fang Yuan cultivated diligently, he squeezed his time to the limit. Every minute and second was used to its fullest. Such a safe environment was hard to come by. Since rebirth, Fang Yuan finally had such a good opportunity to develop his strength and accumulate his foundation. Immortal aperture management, killer move practice, soul path cultivation, and other aspects, Fang Yuan had a brand new look almost every day. His speed of improvement was unheard of, even the land spirit of Langya was secretly shocked. This was what the Celestial Court had predicted. After obtaining Shadow Sect's inheritance, Fang Yuan's foundation had reached an unimaginable level. Now that it burst out, his strength would soar. Ever since Shui came into contact with the Shadow Sect members, she had been working hard and being obedient. Even though she had low battle strength, she had great investigative skills. She cooperated with the other Shadow Sect members to explore Tai Chiu for Fang Yuan. She obtained many souls. Fang Yuan's cold attitude towards the marriage caused conflict among the Snowman tribe. Shui's grandmother, Bing Yuan, insisted on sending another betrothal gift to express their sincerity. But some Snowman GU immortals led by Bing Feng objected. This side felt that the price of a marriage with Fang Yuan was too high, it was better to endure the Rockman tribe's oppression. Because of the Shadow Sect members' efforts, Lang Ya Sect's exploration of Tai Chiu became much faster. This made the land spirit of Langya extremely happy. The more he looked at Fang Yuan, the more he liked him. On this day, Fang Yuan was sitting with his eyes closed, developing his immortal aperture when he suddenly received a request for help. He opened his eyes. At the same time, the land spirit of Langya teleported and appeared in front of Fang Yuan. Chapter 1476. Genius 1 second. Remember if you want to go. TalkNet, providing you with exciting novels to read. Roar. A thunderous explosion resounded in the ears of the hairy man GU immortals. At the same time, a huge dragon head that was the size of a hill came crashing down. A huge shadow fell on the immortals. Even before it arrived, air currents were surging, the ferocious aura made them shiver, they could not resist it. We are finished. The three hairy man GU immortals were sweating profusely, one of them even fell to the ground. Seeing that the three of them were about to die, at this moment, the three hairy men heard a cold voice, trash. Despite such insults, the three hairy man GU immortals were overjoyed, they shouted together, "We are here, Fairy Ning Bing, save us." At the moment of danger, a white figure flew over, it was Dragon Lady by Ning Bing. She snorted coldly, raising her hands. Crack! At the next moment, a huge ice wall rose up, blocking the three hairy man GU immortals. Bam! In just a breath of time, the huge dragon head crashed into the ice wall. The ice wall could not take the impact, it shattered. But Bai Ning Bing had already pulled the three hairy man GU immortals back, pulling some distance between them. At the same time, a cold light shot out from her eyes, shining on the dragon head. The ferocious dragon head was soon covered in a thin layer of frost, its speed fell by a lot. Bai Ning Bing let out a sigh of relief internally. In that split second, she had already determined that the dragon head in front of her was only a rank 7, with her battle strength, it was more than enough to deal with him. But the immemorial desolate beast myriad head coiling dragon has 10,000 dragon heads. I can deal with this dragon head, but if the other dragon heads join in, I will not be able to deal with them, I will not be able to deal with so many. Bai Ning Bing looked at the sky, frowning. This was not the normal world of Tai Chiu, it was a dark formation path space. The myriad head coiling dragon was a formation path immemorial desolate beast, it could create a formation path space, like the upper extreme heavenly eagle that could enter grotto heavens. This was an innate ability of immemorial desolate beasts. I need to leave this place quickly and return to the outside world. I hope Ying Wu Xie and the rest can stall it. At this moment, outside of Taichou, He Lulan and the rest were flying in the sky, facing the hundreds of dragons on the ground. They were using their abilities, throwing all kinds of killer moves at them. The scene was spectacular. The green giant grass on Taichou was as tall as a tree. They grew densely like a forest. In the giant grass, there were hundreds of dragons. Some were covered in golden scales, some had horns on their foreheads, some had 3 dragon pupils, and some had sharp teeth. They were of all different shapes and sizes. Its body swayed as it stood upright, its height far exceeding that of the giant grass. These were all part of the head of the 10,000 head coiling dragon. Their tails pierced deep into the ground, and the 10,000 dragon bodies originated from one body. Meanwhile, He Lulan and the others were circling in the sky like eagles, continuously launching all kinds of killer moves, dazzling like fireworks. The long dragons roared. They weren't passively taking a beating, but were continuously counterattacking. Most of them were spitting out dragon breath, some were spitting out poisonous mist, and some were shooting out light from their eyes. Not counting the dragon head that went to deal with by Ning Bing, there are 3 rank 7 dragon head. The rest are all rank 6. We haven't found any wild immortal GU yet, but we need to be careful. Don't get close, we might get dragged into the formation path world of the 10,000 head coiling dragon. He Lulan, Ying Wu Xie, and the rest were conversing as they fought. Land Spirit of Langya asked Fang Yuan for help. Fang Yuan naturally had to save them. Firstly, this rescue mission had a lot of rewards, he was moved. Secondly, he was a supreme elder of Lang Ya sect, he could not ignore this, otherwise, it would go against the alliance agreement. Thus, while Fang Yuan rushed over, he ordered Ying Wu Xie and the rest to save them first and stall for time. The battle was getting more intense, it did not last for long, but Ying Wu Xie and the rest felt immense pressure. Oh no! More and more dragon heads are awakening. At this rate, the immemorial dragon heads will wake up, we will not only fail to save them, we will even lose our life. When will sect leader arrive? This is deep in Tai Chiu, it is far from the teleportation immortal formation, it will take some time. Be careful. While they conversed, another rank 7 dragon head woke up. It broke out of the ground and roared as it breathed out a silver dragon breath. He Lulan dodged it by a hair's breadth. Ying Wuxie thought about it before saying to Lady White Rabbit and Shui, retreat, we will provide support from afar. Shui only had rank 6 cultivation level, her mind was already shaken, she could barely fight. Even though she was a genius of the Snowman tribe, she could not compare to He Lulan and the rest. She did not try to be brave, she pulled Lady White Rabbit and retreated. Is it good for us to retreat like this? Lady White Rabbit was worried. Shui rolled her eyes. Let's listen to Fairy Wuxie, with our battle strength, we will only be a burden to them. The immortals held on for a while longer, more and more dragon heads woke up and joined the battle. 1,000 dragons moved and roared, He Lulan and the rest were at a complete disadvantage. Thankfully, immemorial desolate beasts like myriad-head coiling dragons were very special. Once they were born, they could not move. Even though there were many dragon heads, they could only defend themselves, they could not attack. Even so, with 1,000 dragon heads breathing, He Lulan and the rest were forced to retreat again and again, they could not resist them. Oh no, the situation is getting worse for us. Bai Ningbing is not out yet, she might be trapped in the enemy's formation and cannot escape. He Lulan and the rest were right, Bai Ningbing was in a tough battle inside the formation path space. In order to protect the lives of the 3 hairy man GU immortals, she had many reservations. Right at this time, an indescribable aura spread throughout the area. A huge dragon head that was far larger than its kind slowly rose up. The immemorial dragon head had appeared. Its eyes were blurry, its eyelids were drooping, it had not woken up yet, but it gave the immortals immense pressure. Damn it, what should we do? While the immortals were hesitating, Ying Wuxie ordered, retreat. They were only rank 6 and 7, how could they resist rank 8 GU immortals? They could only retreat and abandon Bai Ningbing and the 3 hairy man GU immortals. At this moment, the immemorial dragon head opened its mouth and inhaled. In an instant, the world changed, Ying Wuxie and the rest could not resist at all, they were all dragged into the formation path space. Immemorial dragon head. Bai Ningbing's expression was shaken, she looked at Ying Wuxie and the rest, asking with a frown, where is Fang Yuan? Ying Wuxie and the rest could only smile bitterly. Thankfully, after the immemorial dragon head trapped the Shadow Sect immortals, it did not attack again, the dragon image faded away, in a few breaths of time, it vanished from the formation path space. It had rank 8 battle strength, in its eyes, rank 6 and 7 GU immortals were insignificant, they were not worthy of it fighting. It left this battle to the other dragon heads. Thus, more than 1,000 dragon heads appeared around the Shadow Sect immortals. Ying Wuxie and the rest fell into a tough battle. The current situation was different from before, these dragon heads could move freely in the formation path space, they could suddenly appear and disappear, the awkward situation of having to defend themselves earlier was gone. The immortals tried for a while but found that they could not break out of this formation path space, they could only unite and help each other, fighting to the death. In this dangerous battle, the immortals soon suffered injuries. The 3 hairy man GU immortals, Shui, and Lady White Rabbit were surrounded by danger. Gradually, the Shadow Sect immortals could not take care of the weaker ones. A hairy man GU immortal was the first to die. Shui cried out in shock, she could not retreat in time, she was surrounded by several dragon heads. To think that I am going to die here. Shui could not defend herself, she could only close her eyes and wait for death. Right at this time, a black figure grabbed her and charged out of the encirclement. What are you doing? I had to come and save you again. The pressure of survival caused Lady White Rabbit to transform into Black Tigress, it was she who saved Shui. Shui was stunned. You are Lady White Rabbit? I am not a weakling like you. Black Tigress smiled coldly, looking at Shui in disdain. Shui was speechless. She finally understood, Fang Yuan's subordinates, the members of the Shadow Sect, were all freaks. Compared to them, she was the weakest. With Black Tigress' help, the situation stabilized. But good times did not last long, more and more dragon heads appeared, the immemorial desolate beast myriad head coiling dragon started to display its terrifying battle strength. The immortals could only hold on, there was no way to escape. They could only place their hopes on Fang Yuan. But when would Fang Yuan arrive? According to the time of the battle, Fang Yuan should have arrived long ago. But soon, the Shadow Sect GU Immortals found that this formation path space contained time path components. There was a difference in the flow of time compared to the outside world. This discovery was like a huge rock that pressed down on the GU Immortals' hearts. However, gradually, Ying Wuxie and the rest found that the number of dragon heads in the formation path space started to decrease. The pressure on them gradually lessened, and they stabilized their precarious situation. Fang Yuan must be here. Realizing this, the immortals' morale rose. But Xuer'e could not help but feel worried. I wonder how the battle outside is. Even though Fang Yuan has rank 8 battle strength, can he resist this myriad head coiling dragon? Just as she was thinking about this, the formation path space broke, everyone returned to Tai Chio heaven and earth. Seeing this, Xuer'e could not help but gasp in shock. Blood flowed like a river on the ground, countless dragon corpses fell to the ground, the surrounding area had turned into a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. That immemorial dragon head continued to howl, it did not have any of its previous glory. As for Fang Yuan, he was everywhere. Thought myriad transformations. Ying Wuxie sighed, he recognized the immortal killer move that Fang Yuan was using. Fang Yuan's true body was hidden among the countless phantoms, that immemorial dragon head could not find out where Fang Yuan's main body was. Ignited thought flying rock. Countless flaming rocks landed on the myriad head coiling dragon's body, a large number of dragon heads fell to the ground. They wanted to get up, but the moment they thought of it, they were burned by the fire. Thought flower bloom. Fang Yuan had a thought. Immediately, the dragon heads and bodies that fell to the ground were covered in all sorts of beautiful flowers. They felt their strength being sucked away, the powerful dragon heads fell into weakness, the flowers were like fuel that fueled the fire in their minds. These attacks completely destroyed the battle strength of the rank 6 and 7 dragon heads. They were sprawled on the ground like fat earthworms. Only the immemorial dragon head had a fierce aura, but it could not find Fang Yuan's main body, it could not display its battle strength. This is the power of a wisdom path killer move. This shows how powerful Zishan Makoto was in the past. Fang Yuan thought to himself. At this time, the immemorial dragon head saw Ying Wuxie and the rest, it immediately pounced towards them. The 2 remaining hairy man GU immortals could not help but scream in pain. Fang Yuan revealed his main body, blocking the dragon head's path. Be careful. Xuer'e shouted, looking at the immemorial dragon head colliding with Fang Yuan's body with a fearful expression. A huge force surged, Fang Yuan was sent flying, but he quickly flew back. Instead, the immemorial dragon head was bleeding from the collision, it was in a pathetic state. Reverse flow protection seal made Celestial Court's GU immortals helpless against it, its mystical power was no joke. Using this chance, the Shadow Sect immortals retreated to a safe distance. Without any worries, Fang Yuan fought with the immemorial dragon head. So strong. Xuer'e's heart was pounding, she personally witnessed how Fang Yuan gained the upper hand and killed the immemorial dragon head. Chapter 1477. Genius in 1 second, remember to go. SpeakNet, providing you with exciting novels to read. We are saved. Elder Fang Yuan is invincible. The 2 hairy man GU immortals saw that Fang Yuan defeated the myriad head coiling dragon as they cheered, expressing the joy of surviving. The Shadow Sect immortals were silent. Bai Ning Bing snorted coldly. Ying Wuxie had a look of reminiscence, seeing these wisdom path killer moves again, he could not help but think about the sacrificed Purple Mountain true monarch. He Lulan was silent, the stronger Fang Yuan was, the smaller her hopes of escaping. Xuer'e blinked, her mind was shaken as she looked at the messy battlefield. At once, she understood why the tribe did everything they could to form a marriage alliance with Fang Yuan. This is rank 8 battle strength. A GU immortal with rank 8 battle strength is not someone ordinary immemorial desolate beasts can deal with. Because humans are spirits of heaven and earth, they have intelligence and can use countless immortal killer moves. Getting married to this man, even if it is just this relationship, our tribe will not be bullied by the Rockmen. If we can get some help from him, our tribe will definitely rise and prosper. Meanwhile, Fang Yuan stared at the dragon corpses on the ground, as well as the collapsed dragon head, evaluating his gains and losses. Immemorial desolate beasts had rank 8 battle strength, but even among them, there were differences in strength. This myriad head coiling dragon was one of the weaker immemorial desolate beasts. It was not in a good state, it had just woken up from its slumber and was countered by Fang Yuan's wisdom path killer move. If Fang Yuan used other methods and charged forward, it might take some effort. But if he used ignited thought and flying rocks, it would be very effective. How should I deal with this myriad head coiling dragon? Without the immemorial dragon head, this beast has fallen to ancient level. But its foundation is still there. In time, another ancient dragon head will grow to immemorial level. This kind of formation path immemorial desolate beast was rare. Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture was in the process of construction. Fang Yuan's first thought was to put this myriad head coiling dragon into his immortal aperture. Unfortunately, once the myriad coiling dragon landed on the ground, it could not be moved. Not only did it go deep underground, but it was also connected to the veins of the earth, absorbing nutrients from the veins of the earth to grow. Love go small say net. Chu therefore, digging up the surrounding land was equivalent to cutting off the connection between the 10,000 head coiling dragon and the earth veins. This would directly kill it. Ordinary GU immortals might be helpless, but Fang Yuan had a way. Be it the legacy of the Shadow Sect or the Lang Ya sect, they had recorded several methods to move the myriad-headed coiling dragon away. However, Fang Yuan thought for a moment and gave up on this tempting idea. The reason was simple: these methods required immortal GU that Fang Yuan did not have. Even if he used the light of wisdom to deduce and modify the related methods, he would expend a huge amount of resources and effort. It was not worth it just for this immemorial desolate beast. But if he killed it and took its body parts to sell as immortal materials, it would be a waste. After all, this was a living immemorial desolate beast, it was much more valuable than a dead one. Thoughts flashed in Fang Yuan's mind. He immediately thought of the best way to deal with it, Lang Ya Sec. He was just about to contact the land spirit of Langya when the land spirit of Langya contacted him through information path mortal GU. The land spirit of Langya was very happy. Fang Yuan was able to defeat the immemorial desolate beast and save the 2 hairy man GU immortals. He was here to thank Fang Yuan. His tone was very warm. Fang Yuan smiled silently. The situation of rank 8 GU immortals was different. If rank 9 did not appear, rank 8s ruled. Every rank 8 GU immortal's actions had a huge influence. Even though Fang Yuan did not have rank 8 cultivation level and only had rank 8 battle strength, he could be considered a quasi-rank 8, he could already feel the power of rank 8. Fang Yuan said to the land spirit of Langya, "This myriad head coiling dragon is still alive, it will definitely grow an immemorial dragon head in the future. I plan to give this immemorial desolate beast to Lang Ya sect, first supreme elder. How many sect contribution points can I get?" The land spirit of Langya was stunned before shouting, "Good idea." Lang Ya sect explored Tai Chiu, using the immemorial desolate beast's corpse to create a teleportation immortal formation. This was a base. Through this base, they could expand outwards, exploring Tai Chiu and plundering natural resources. But in the huge Tai Chiu, a small base was not enough. Like this time, because it was too far away, it was not convenient to rescue them. This myriad head coiling dragon is a natural immortal formation. We do not need to construct it. As long as we subdue it, we can use it as our second base. As for sect contribution points, the land spirit of Langya thought for a while before giving a number that satisfied Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan had refined immortal GU earlier, causing his contribution points in Lang Ya sect to shrink. Now that he was replenished, he could continue refining GU for some time. Right now, Fang Yuan's GU refinement mission had only one goal: heavenly secret immortal GU. After dealing with the loot, Fang Yuan led the immortals back in triumph. The Shadow Sect immortals all had injuries, among them, He Lulan had the most severe injuries. Even though fire path methods were exquisite, they were not suitable for her great strength true martial physique. Unfortunately, Fang Yuan also needed to develop his strength path. This was a contradiction. Fang Yuan had to satisfy his own needs first, before raising the strength of the Shadow Sect Immortals. After all, the Celestial Court was too powerful. Borrowing their strength was an effective method for Fang Yuan to obtain victory. However, I can modify her fire path killer moves to make them more suitable for her. Or I can modify some of those strength path immortal killer moves and give them to her. Fang Yuan thought about it. He Lulan was very loyal, because of the Shadow Sect alliance agreement. In Fang Yuan's heart, he was more assured in her compared to Fairy Miao Yin and Lady White Rabbit. At the same time, Fang Yuan had another method to restrict He Lulan, that was her enemy and father, He Cheng. This huge trump card had always been in Fang Yuan's hands. He Lulan was kept in the dark. I can nurture He Lulan a little. Modifying these killer moves is very easy. I don't need to spend much time and effort, it is something I can do. Thus, in the next few days, the Shadow Sect Immortals recovered. He Lulan's injuries also healed, she only had light injuries left. Fang Yuan handed Star Eyes Immortal Jiyu to her, letting her use Star Eyes Immortal Jiyu to refine the star. The star that Fang Yuan chose was huge. When Fang Yuan was in southern border, he disguised as Wu Yi Hai. There were too many people, he could not refine the star easily. There was little progress in this aspect, it had been delayed until now. Fang Yuan did not have time and energy to waste on this. Thus, he handed Star Eyes Immortal Jiyu to He Lulan, lending her time and effort to help Fang Yuan refine the star. Star Eyes Immortal Jiyu would be put to use. When He Lulan succeeded, Fang Yuan would give her the modified Immortal Killer move as a reward. Fang Yuan had created an organization in his previous life, he had some experience. If he wanted to promote someone, he could not directly promote them or give them random rewards. Breaking the rules was a huge damage to the organization itself. Therefore, any promotion or demotion must be based on a suitable reason. If there was no suitable reason, he had to create one. Fang Yuan was very familiar with this. The matter of Myriad Head Coiling Dragon made Fang Yuan realize the Shadow Sect Immortals needed to get stronger. The stronger they were, the more help they could provide to Fang Yuan. However, the most important thing now was still Fang Yuan's own improvement. The most reliable person was himself. A truly mature person would never rely on others to help him in times of need. The Shadow Sect Immortals were just icing on the cake for Fang Yuan. After returning to his Cloud City, Fang Yuan took out a rank 6 Strength Path Immortal material. Next, he activated the Immortal Killer move Eat Strength. In an instant, this pure Strength Path Immortal material melted. A small portion of the Strength Path Dao marks in the Immortal material was transferred to Fang Yuan. Using perceivable Dao Immortal Jiyu to measure it, the increase in Strength Path Dao marks was not much. Fang Yuan was not disappointed, this was within his expectations. The main way for Jiyu Immortals to increase Dao marks was to undergo tribulations. For Fang Yuan, he had an additional way to annex apertures. As for Eat Strength Killer move, it could only be accumulated over a long period of time to see its effects. Thus, when he dealt with Myriad Head Coiling Dragon, even though his Strength Path Dao marks increased, there was no obvious effect on his battle strength. However, if I refine Snack Immortal Jiyu into rank 7 Great Eat and modify Eat Strength Killer move, the increase in Strength Path Dao marks will increase qualitatively. This thought flashed in Fang Yuan's mind before vanishing. It was tempting to refine Snack Immortal Jiyu into Great Eat Immortal Jiyu, but currently, it was not suitable. Refining Heavenly Secret Immortal Jiyu was his main goal. Secondly, Fang Yuan had been developing his immortal aperture and constructing his foundation to satisfy the needs of a large number of immortal Jiyu. Especially the latter, it used up almost all of Fang Yuan's financial resources. How long had it been? His 10 million immortal yuan stone storage had shrunk drastically. But despite the huge investment, Fang Yuan's gains were also huge. The basic construction was already mostly completed. My soul foundation is already at 10 million man soul. I will continue cultivating like this. In terms of killer moves, Zishan Makoto has already grasped his Wisdom Path killer move. Next, I will modify Bo Qing's Sword Path killer move. In terms of Wisdom Path, Fang Yuan had Grandmaster attainment level. He also had Wisdom Path Immortal GU. He had priority over them. In terms of Sword Path, even though he had several Sword Path Immortal GU, Fang Yuan's attainment level was not high enough. They were secondary. In terms of Soul Path, not only was his attainment level lacking, he also lacked Immortal GU. He only had rank 7 Change Soul and rank 6 Cleanse Soul. Thus, his position was high again. Fang Yuan had already planned everything out. While modifying Bo Qing's Sword Path killer moves, I will also modify some killer moves for He Lulan. The only problem is that I need to complete the basic construction. My finances are in danger. Fang Yuan had some misgivings, but to think that 3 days later, the snowmen would send the third gift. The third betrothal gift was also the heaviest among all the betrothal gifts. Chapter 1478. Genius 1 second. Remember if you want to go. TalkNet, providing you with exciting novels to read. Southern border. Light rain fell, cold winds blew. The lush mountain range was calm and peaceful under the dusky evening. On a nameless mountain peak, there was a huge pine tree with a canopy that resembled a pavilion. It had been 6 years since it germinated and grew. Soon, in another hour, I will be able to refine the rank 7 Pine Needle Immortal GU. 6 years of hard work. Rank 7 secluded Immortal Zheng Qing was looking forward to it. He was a Wood Path GU Immortal. He was using the wood refinement method in this GU refinement. Even though it took a long time, he used Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable's method, thus the success rate was very high. Zheng Qing was originally immortal. He was chopping firewood on a mountain when he fell down a cliff and was supported by a towering lotus in the valley. By chance, Zheng Qing inherited a wood path inheritance left behind by Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable. After hard work, he became a GU Immortal. He slowly cultivated and rarely went out. In a few hundred years, he reached rank 7 realm. He had a calm nature. Undeniably, Genesis Lotus True Inheritance was very suitable for him. In this GU refinement, he turned into a pine tree and stayed there for 6 years. He cultivated in seclusion without stopping, regardless of the changes in the outside world. Rumble. Right at this time, from deep underground, there was a deep rumbling sound. It was like the roar of countless monsters. What's going on? Zheng Qing heard the sound and became vigilant. This doesn't make sense. My GU refinement method originates from Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable. Be it the process or the end of the GU refinement, they are all derived naturally. It is profound and mysterious. It cannot be leaked. Thus, it is unlikely that someone will come to snatch it. Wait. Zheng Qing was puzzled at first, but soon, he had a thought. He thought of an answer. A few months ago, he had also experienced such a strange phenomenon. That time, the earth shook. It was like an unprecedented giant python had flipped its body in the depths of the earth. Even though it did not have much effect, it gave Zheng Qing a fright. Afterwards, Zheng Qing communicated with Jewel Yellow Skies and learned that a huge earthquake had occurred. It was of an unprecedented scale. It covered the whole of southern border. Is it going to be the same this time? Zheng Qing's guess was soon verified. Sure enough, it was just as he had expected. It was still an earthquake this time. However, the scale was beyond Zheng Qing's expectations. Rumble. The terrifying earthquake seemed to want to devour everything. Heaven and earth shook violently as if doomsday had arrived. A huge ravine was formed, stretching for thousands of miles. Zheng Qing was very unfortunate. The nameless hill he was on was being swallowed by the ravine. The small mountain collapsed. Zheng Qing still wanted to persist, but he had reached his limit and could only return to his human form. Even if he was in a good state of mind, he was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. 6 years of hard work was about to bear fruit, but it was all for naught at this moment. What's going on with this earthquake? Why am I so unlucky? Ooh! Suddenly, his bloodshot eyes widened. In the middle of the vast ravine, there was a huge rock the size of a mountain. The stone was orange-yellow in color and seemed to be made of crystal. There were countless holes on its surface, some as big as a house and some as small as a fist. Large amounts of yellow smoke came out of these holes in an endless stream. The smoke became thicker and thicker. Soon, it turned into soil in the surroundings. The orange-yellow crystal rock was covered in a thick layer of soil in a dozen or so breaths of time. Zheng Qing's breathing became rough. He had Genesis Lotus true inheritance and was very knowledgeable. He recognized such a treasure. This is actually the Earth Path Essence Crystal of Hu Land. This is a rank 8 immortal material. Wait a moment. Zheng Qing's investigative killer move spread further and further. His eyes opened wider and wider as he cried out in shock. Am I seeing things? Not just the Earth Path Essence Crystal. There are also jade body scales, earth cave traveling flames, spring lightning condensed dew beads. These immortal materials were very valuable, and the quantity was also very impressive. Zheng Qing had already forgotten about the failure of the GU refinement. He quickly pounced down and started to collect these heavenly materials and earthly treasures. Northern Plains, Lang Ya Blessed Land. Fang Yuan was cultivating a sword path killer move. Immortal killer move, triple sword wave. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Brilliant silver waves surged and surged endlessly. 3 layers of waves had a grand aura, splashing out in all directions. They were all extremely sharp. Immortal killer move, formless flying sword. Flying sword immortal GU flew out and vanished. Its speed was extremely fast. Fang Yuan could sense flying sword immortal Gu's location accurately, but others could not. This was one of Bo Qing's signature killer moves. Immortal killer move, cloud flying sword. Fang Yuan clapped his hands, clouds and mist surged out and spread rapidly. The sword aura was boundless, it was formless and formless, it could not be defended against. Immortal killer move, myriad li flying sword. Fang Yuan pointed his finger, the sword light was like a white rainbow, piercing through heaven and earth, it flew thousands of li in the blink of an eye, it was extremely accurate. The final highlight, immortal killer move, 5-finger fist heart sword. Fang Yuan clapped his hands together in front of his chest, his right hand's fingers curled up, it was like he was holding an endless amount of sword light in his hand. Next, he raised his right fist, hovering above his head. First, he loosened his thumb. Whoosh! With a soft sound, an extremely sharp sword light shot out, piercing through cloud cover continent. Next, his index finger and middle finger stretched out, 2 more sword lights shot out, they were extremely powerful. But his ring finger and pinky finger could not be extended. After shooting out 3 sword lights, Fang Yuan stopped this killer move. After a round of practice, Fang Yuan stood on the spot, comprehending and summarizing. Over these last days, I have already organized my sword path killer moves. I have come up with 5 main moves, other than sword wave triple layered that comes from Lang Ya sect. The other 4 are Bo Qing's methods, but I have modified them. Sword path situation is a level lower than wisdom path. I do not have as many sword path immortal GU as wisdom path immortal GU, their attainment levels are also far lower, thus, my modifications are limited. The killer move's power is also much lower than Bo Qing's original version. Especially the final move, 5-finger fist heart sword, it was a famous killer move that shook the world, but now, I can only use 3 sword lights, that is my limit. At the same time, its offensive power is only at the peak of rank 7. If I can use rank 8 wisdom sword immortal GU, the sword path killer move's power will rise to rank 8. Unfortunately, wisdom sword immortal GU was hard to activate, it required rank 8 immortal essence. Fang Yuan did not have rank 8 immortal essence, he could not produce rank 8 immortal essence, he could only give up. Fang Yuan had 3 rank 8 immortal GU, they were Attitude GU, Years Flow Like Water, and Wisdom Sword Immortal GU. Attitude GU was a legendary immortal GU, worthy of being recorded in the legends of Ren Zhu. It had very low requirements to use. Years Flow Like Water was slightly inferior, the effect depended on the quality and quantity of the GU Immortal's immortal essence. Wisdom Sword Immortal GU was a normal rank 8 immortal GU, even though it was Fang Yuan's, it required rank 8 immortal essence to activate. Thus, Fang Yuan still had a lot of room for growth in sword path. It was just that currently, after this round of development, he had reached his limit. After finishing the killer move practice, Fang Yuan did not want to waste any time. He returned to the Cloud City and started to develop his immortal aperture. Sovereign immortal aperture, at the northern end of Kokitahara. Snow was falling, cold air was everywhere, the snow was thick, the atmosphere was very different from before. Roar roar. Occasionally, a few snow monsters would stagger in the flying snow and let out a few strange roars. At the northernmost part, there was a crystal rock that resembled a mountain. This rock was blue in color, it looked like it was made of crystal, it was filled with holes of all sizes. There were many holes, frost fog was spewing out from them. It was precisely this fog that greatly improved the surrounding environment from its roots. Ice Path Crystal Essence. This was a rank 8 immortal material, it was very rare. It came from the secluded domain of heaven and earth it was rarely seen in the market. The first time he saw this Ice Path Crystal Essence, Fang Yuan sighed, to think that the snowman race had such a good item in their inventory. But soon, Fang Yuan understood. Even though the snowman race had a difficult life now, they were in an awkward situation. Thinking about it, how could the snowman race that survived through the cruel eras be simple? At the very least, among all the snowman races, this was one of the best. They were stuck in a corner, their situation was not good now, but they had glory in the past. Ice Path Crystal Essence was one of the important parts of the third gift of the snowman race. As for why the snowman race expressed such great sincerity, Fang Yuan did not need to guess, it was definitely because he had fought against the immemorial desolate beast myriad head coiling dragon. Schwerer had recorded the battle and sent it to the snowman race. However, this was also because Fang Yuan was purposely letting them do this. He was happy to see this happen. With this Ice Path Crystal Essence, I can create a snow monster production line. In time, this place will become my new source of income. Just as he was thinking about the future, Sixth Hair secretly sent a message. Sect Leader, Heavenly Secret Immortal Gu's refinement has reached a crucial stage. Please come and refine the GU personal. Fang Yuan was energized. If he could refine Heavenly Secret Immortal GU, the following calamities and tribulations would become predictable. Chapter 1479. Genius 1 second. Remember if you want to go. SpeakNet, providing you with exciting novels to read. The GU Refinement Hall was filled with white light. The light was boundless, people could not look at it directly. There was a dense aura between mortal GU and immortal GU. The GU refinement had clearly reached the most crucial stage. Fang Yuan was bathed in the white light, his mind was completely focused. Beside him was the refinement path GU Immortal Sixth Hair. He had a solemn and nervous expression. Now is the time. Suddenly, Sixth Hair spoke. He actually removed the entire refinement path GU formation. It turned out that the most suitable method to refine Heavenly Secret Immortal GU was light path refinement. Other than that, other paths refinement methods could only yield half the result with twice the effort, some even had the opposite effect. And at the final step, the refinement path GU formation had to be removed, using the GU Immortal's ingenuity to complete the final step. This was the most special aspect of Heavenly Secret Immortal GU. Other Immortal GU did not have this requirement. Only Heavenly Secret Immortal GU could not be restricted or restricted, it could only be refined in a situation where it could move freely. Undeniably, this was a huge test for the GU refinement GU Immortal. Because the GU Immortal needed to take over the role of the Immortal formation at this moment, guiding the entire GU refinement process to the final step. But the GU Immortal's guidance could not exceed the limits. Once it exceeded the limits, there would be restrictions and Heavenly Secret Immortal GU would not be able to condense. This required a profound balance, the intricacies could not be expressed in words, only the GU refinement GU Immortal could personally experience it. The final step of the GU refinement. Countless thoughts surged in Fang Yuan's mind. He used wisdom path methods to perfectly take over the role of the immortal formation. The surrounding white light was dazzling, but under Fang Yuan's guidance, it started to condense and shrink. Gradually, This light condensed into a ring around Fang Yuan's body. The huge ring had Fang Yuan at the center. Initially, it was just light condensing, but after a few breaths of time, it felt like it was solid. More than 10 breaths of time later, the GU refinement hall's light returned to normal. The ring was solid, it was the size of a house and looked like it was made of platinum. The ring quietly floated in the air. Fang Yuan stood at the center of the ring. Sixth Hair held his breath, feeling slightly excited. Refinement path killer move, heavenly light rotation, it has finally formed. But it needs at least 7 rounds to truly refine rank 7 heavenly secret immortal GU. The first turn. Fang Yuan's mind moved slightly, and the ring slowly activated. Only after the time it took to brew a cup of tea did it complete a full circle. The first rotation is a success. Sixth Hair let out a breath of turbid air. The second turn. Fang Yuan slowly opened his eyes that had been shut all along. A strange light shot out from his eyes and shone on the ring. The originally motionless ring seemed to be motivated by this gaze and began to spin again. This time, the rotation speed was clearly faster than before. After the time it took to brew half a cup of tea, the circle was completed. I've also succeeded in my second transformation. Sixth Hair clenched his fists. The third turn. Fang Yuan's breathing became heavy, and he kept breathing. This breathing was not ordinary breathing, he was using a refinement path killer move. His aura interacted with the ring, and the ring started to spin again. This time, the rotation speed was even faster, and after a while, the circle was completed. The third turn is also completed. Sixth Hair's heart was pounding. The fourth turn. Fang Yuan opened his mouth and started to chant. Under the influence of his voice, the ring started to spin even faster. Soon, the fourth turn was also completed. A total of 7 turns, I have already completed more than half. But it will get harder from now on, because the ring is spinning faster and faster, it is not easy to control. Sixth Hair's forehead was already covered in sweat. The fourth turn was over, but Fang Yuan was not in a hurry to continue. He rested for a while before activating his refinement path killer move, making the ring spin on its own. The fifth turn. Fang Yuan's arms were originally hanging down, but now, he started to raise them. Like 2 mountains were hanging on his arms, Fang Yuan raised his arms in an extremely slow and heavy manner. The ring started to spin on its own, but different from the previous times, while it was spinning, it was also slowly rising. It was getting higher and higher. When it rose from Fang Yuan's waist to Fang Yuan's shoulder, it suddenly stopped. Oh no! Sixth Hair's expression changed. At the same time, the ring self-detonated. Boom! With a loud sound, the intense explosion was suppressed by the entire GU refinement hall before it could affect the surroundings. But Fang Yuan, who was at the center, suffered the full power of the explosion. Puff! Fang Yuan's expression turned pale, he coughed out a mouthful of blood. Heavy injuries. Immortal GU man as before. Fang Yuan immediately activated this immortal GU, the method that had always worked well showed its effect. Fang Yuan's heavy injuries turned into light injuries, but his injuries had not healed completely. Fang Yuan was injured while refining rank 7 heavenly secret. He used rank 6 man as before. Even though it was effective, man as before's time path effect could not completely erase his injuries. The severity of Fang Yuan's injuries could be seen at a glance. Heavenly secret immortal Gu's refinement failed. This was not the first failure. The previous few times, Sixth Hair had failed along the way. This time, even after Fang Yuan personally made a move, he still failed. At once, Fang Yuan and Sixth Hair's expressions turned ugly. This time, Fang Yuan had practiced extensively. He even used many luck path methods before the GU refinement, but he did not succeed. GU refinement was like this. It was not easy to succeed. If one invested a lot, they might not have any gains, they might end up with nothing in the end. The crucial point was that Fang Yuan's calamity and tribulation were about to descend. This refinement of heavenly secret did not succeed, it meant that Fang Yuan did not have time to refine it again. What a pity. Sixth Hair sighed. No worries, even without heavenly secret, I have confidence in passing it. Fang Yuan waved his hand. In just a short while, His emotions returned to normal. Several days later, Fang Yuan left through the teleportation immortal formation, arriving at an uninhabited desolate land to undergo tribulation. He placed his immortal aperture and opened its entrance. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. A vast amount of heaven and earth chi surged in like a heavenly river, filling up the sovereign immortal aperture. Ying Wuxie and the others were dumbfounded by the majestic scene before them. This time, when Fang Yuan underwent tribulation, to ensure that nothing went wrong, he brought the Shadow Sect immortals along. Bai Ningbing was also among them, but Shui was left in Lang Ya blessed land. Shui was not trusted by Fang Yuan yet. As for the others, they had entered the sovereign immortal aperture before. When Fang Yuan underwent tribulation, they could help. Or when GU immortals were attracted and came to cause trouble, they could go out and block the enemies for Fang Yuan. This was a human tribulation. When Fang Yuan underwent tribulation, Providence paid attention to him. This could not be helped. Providence wanted to get rid of Fang Yuan by all means. It would naturally make arrangements, and as time passed, it would create a human tribulation. If I had not seen it with my own eyes, it would be hard to imagine that someone's immortal aperture could have such a grand scene just by absorbing heaven and earth chi. The sovereign immortal aperture is too powerful. I believe that even rank 9 venerables cannot have such a scene when absorbing heaven and earth chi. The Shadow Sect immortals praised. Bai Ningbing snorted coldly, her eyes flickered with uncertainty. She was shocked inwardly, but she said, "You are underestimating rank 9 venerables. Even though I have not seen the rank 9 immortal aperture absorb heaven and earth chi, after inheriting Bai Xiong's true inheritance, I know that back then, Bai Xiong's absorption of heaven and earth chi was much grander than Fang Yuan's." Ying Wuxie glanced at Bai Ningbing plainly. Bai Xiong is rank 8, he has a rank 8 grotto heaven. Fang Yuan is only rank 7 now, he only has a rank 7 blessed land, the two cannot be compared. Moreover, the sovereign immortal aperture is huge, many places have not been constructed, its potential is unimaginable. In contrast, back then, Bai Xiong had already constructed the grotto heaven completely, resources filled it, these resources naturally consumed a lot of heaven and earth chi. Bai Ningbing was silent. "You are right, fellow celestial Wuxie." Goddess Miao Yin smiled. The other GU immortals nodded in agreement. After a long while, the sovereign immortal aperture finished absorbing heaven and earth chi, the tribulation started to form in mini red heaven. Fang Yuan's body was in mini red heaven now, this tribulation was targeted at Fang Yuan, it would not appear anywhere else. As for why mini red heaven was chosen, it was because this place was huge, it had once been used as a battlefield against the immemorial year monkey, there were no resources built here, undergoing tribulation here would greatly reduce the losses. If he underwent tribulation in mini southern border or Kokotahara, the tribulation would wreak havoc and destroy countless resources. This was not a situation Fang Yuan wanted to see. The sovereign immortal aperture is too big, if we undergo tribulation, how can we avoid the calamities and tribulations damaging our resources? But inside the sovereign immortal aperture, the calamities and tribulations cannot include mini red heaven. He Lulan sighed with an extremely envious tone. My Shadow Sect painstakingly accumulated resources for 100,000 years to refine sovereign immortal fetus GU, it is naturally extraordinary. Ying Wuxie snorted coldly, speaking in a proud tone. It is a pity that everything went to Fang Yuan. Bai Ningbing said casually, causing Ying Wuxie to glare at her angrily. What? Am I wrong? Bai Ningbing was fearless, she looked at Ying Wuxie provocatively, regaining her dignity. Ying Wuxie breathed in deeply, turning his head around. Sovereign immortal fetus GU was given to Lord Fang Yuan, what difference does it make? He is the sect leader of my Shadow Sect now, we are on the same side. Ha ha ha. Bai Ningbing laughed mockingly. Ying Wuxie ignored her, he only stared at the tribulation that was about to form. He saw that Fang Yuan's surroundings were filled with extremely thick poisonous fog. The poisonous fog was rumbling, it had 5 distinct colors. This is a poison path tribulation. Lady White Rabbit said weakly. More accurately, it is a 5 poison tribulation. Ying Wuxie said, His knowledge was naturally broader. Just like he said, the 5-colored poisonous fog formed into 5 huge monsters. They were snake, scorpion, spider, toad, and centipede. The 5 monsters surrounded Fang Yuan, looking at him covetously, but they were not in a hurry to attack. They were accumulating strength. As time passed, their bodies became larger. Why is Fang Yuan not attacking yet? Bai Ningbing frowned. This was the best time to attack, otherwise, the longer time passed, the stronger the poisonous beasts would become. However, Fang Yuan's battle strategy was different from the norm. He waited until the power of the 5 great poisonous creatures had accumulated to the limit. The 5 great poisonous beasts were like mountains. They pounced at Fang Yuan while stomping on the ground. Bai Ningbing and the rest held their breaths. The tribulation was so powerful that even the spectators were shaken. This was not an ordinary rank 7 tribulation. With the support of Providence, it had reached the limit of the great Tao of heaven and earth. Is that all? Fang Yuan's gaze turned cold. He vanished on the spot. Boom, boom, boom. At the next moment, thunderous explosions resounded. The pupils of Bai Ningbing and the rest shrunk. They watched in shock as Fang Yuan rampaged through the battlefield. The 5 poisonous beasts were completely defeated by his attacks. A moment later, the poisonous fog dissipated. Only Fang Yuan's demonic godlike figure was left in the battlefield. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.